Silence makes you untouchable. There's a rare kind of dominance that doesn't come from volume, confidence, or power. It comes from restraint, the loud chase validation, the silent command attention. Because silence is not the absence of words, it's the presence of control. When you choose not to respond, not to defend, not to explain, you create space, and people project their own meaning into it. That space becomes your weapon. They start to wonder what you're thinking. They start to fill in the blanks with fear, curiosity, or respect. Most people speak to escape discomfort. They can't tolerate the tension of quiet, but that tension is where power lives. When you stop rushing to fill silence, others begin to reveal themselves. They explain, over-explain, justify, confess. They show you where their nerves hide. All you had to do was stay still. Silence changes rooms. It makes time stretch. It forces people to measure their words. It turns simple presence into gravity. The person who speaks least often becomes the one everyone listens to most carefully. You no longer need to interrupt. You influence without noise. The art is not in never speaking. It's in speaking after silence has done its work. You let tension rise until your words land like a blade, clean, deliberate. Silence makes them lean forward. Speech makes them step back. So practice saying less. Let pauses hang longer than comfort allows. Observe how energy shifts when you hold your tongue. You'll find that silence doesn't weaken connection. It purifies it. It filters noise from truth. And one day you'll realize that silence was never emptiness. It was armor. It was dominance in its most elegant form. Because in a world addicted to reaction, the one who can remain quiet becomes the one who controls every conversation without saying a word. Kindness is a weapon. Use it sparingly. Kindness has a beautiful disguise. It looks harmless. It looks pure. But in the wrong hands, or given without limit, it becomes a tool for control, deception, and quiet self-destruction. Everyone praises kindness, yet few understand its weight. When given too freely, it loses its sharpness. When withheld wisely, it becomes magnetic. People expect kindness to be unconditional. They expect you to give without question, to forgive without hesitation, to bend in the name of virtue. But unconditional kindness is how manipulators find hosts. It's how your empathy becomes their leverage. They test you. Small requests, subtle guilt, emotional bait. The more you give, the less they value it. Generosity, without discernment, creates entitlement. Powerful kindness is selective. It's thoughtful. It knows that warmth carries more weight when it's rare. It's not cruelty to say no. It's balance. When you're kind only from strength, your presence becomes memorable instead of forgettable. People stop mistaking your grace for weakness. They start earning it. So learn to ration your kindness. Offer it deliberately, never out of fear or habit. Watch how people behave when you stop giving it automatically. Some will grow distant. They were never genuine. Others will step closer, not for comfort but for connection. That's the difference. True kindness doesn't require witnesses. It doesn't beg for approval. It restores power quietly, without needing to prove itself. It's the hand that lifts, but never trembles. Be warm, but measured. Be helpful, but unpredictable. And remember, the sun burns just as easily as it shines. Never show what hurts you. There's a quiet kind of power in concealment. Not deception, but discipline. The decision to feel everything yet reveal nothing. Because the moment others see where you bleed, they learn how to make you bleed again. The modern world celebrates transparency, but exposure isn't strength. It's surrender. You don't owe your pain to anyone. Healing doesn't require an audience. Real growth happens in silence, in the space between breakdown and rebirth where no one's clapping, no one's watching, and no one's judging. When you stop sharing every wound, something changes. Your emotions lose their leash. You begin to study your pain instead of perform it. You turn it into observation, not identity. That shift unsettles people who rely on emotional chaos to control you. They can't provoke what you refuse to display. Composure is not suppression, it's strategy. You can feel every tremor without letting it shape your behavior. You can mourn without theatrics. You can rage without witnesses. That's the kind of strength that lasts. Imagine walking through conflict and giving nothing away. No reaction, no visible crack. It confuses those who thrive on power exchange. They start guessing, second-guessing, overreaching. Meanwhile, you remain centered. The world teaches you to vent, to share, to open up endlessly. But oversharing doesn't bring peace. It just scatters your power, reserves some parts of yourself. Let mystery protect what empathy cannot. One day, they'll wonder why you never break. And you'll know it's because you learned to carry pain like a blade, tucked quietly under the sleeve. Always there, always sharp, but never seen. The calm one controls the chaos. When everything around you falls apart, notice who panics first. It's rarely the weakest. It's the one who's been pretending to be strong. Real strength doesn't look dramatic. It's quiet. It's slow. It breathes while others hold their breath. The calm one is always underestimated until the storm hits. Then suddenly, everyone starts looking in their direction. Chaos reveals hierarchy. It strips away titles, noise, and appearances. When panic spreads, people stop listening to authority and start following whoever makes them feel safe. That's where calm becomes power. It doesn't dominate. It stabilizes. It's leadership disguised as stillness. True calm is not denial. It's clarity. It comes from seeing everything exactly as it is. No worse, no better, and realizing that fear never changes outcomes, only your ability to handle them. The calm person studies motion while others collapse into emotion. They don't fight storms, they align with them, steering just enough to stay upright. Calmness is contagious. The slower you breathe, the more others mirror it. The quieter your tone, the more others lower theirs. Chaos has rhythm and calm rewrites it. You don't overpower the room, you regulate it. To master calm, practice in the small things. When your phone freezes, when someone cuts you off, when a plan crumbles, pause. These are rehearsals for the moments that matter. Each pause builds muscle memory for peace under fire. Eventually, chaos becomes familiar. You stop fearing the noise because you've learned to hear the pattern beneath it. You become the one others rely on, even the ones who once doubted you. And you'll find that real control doesn't come from force. It comes from being the only one still thinking clearly when everyone else forgets how. Fear is a map, not a prison. Fear's job is simple, to keep you alive. But it doesn't know the difference between survival and stagnation. It warns you away from danger, but it also warns you away from change. Every time you step towards something unfamiliar, fear whispers, stay where it's safe, and safety over time becomes its own kind of death. Fear isn't the enemy. It's information. It points toward the places where you'll grow or where you'll fail trying. Both paths are progress. The trick is to stop letting fear dictate direction and start using it as a compass. What you fear most often hides what you need most. Speaking the truth, standing alone, taking the risk, ending the comfort, these are not dangers. They're invitations. When fear arises, don't silence it. Study it. Ask what it's trying to protect. Fear is protective, not prophetic. It shows you the border of your current identity. Step across it, and your old self dies. But that's evolution. You'll never get rid of fear, but you can domesticate it. Make it your scout, not your warden. The brave are not fearless. They're just fluent in fear's language. They feel it, read it, and still move forward. So next time fear appears, treat it like a guide marking a hidden path. Follow it carefully. See where it leads. You may find that every time you face it, the world gets a little larger, and you quietly, steadily become someone fear itself starts to respect. Don't save people who enjoy drowning. There's a certain kind of person who doesn't want rescue. They want witnesses. Their suffering is performance. Their pain is power. They throw themselves into chaos, not to escape it, but to feel important within it. You'll meet them everywhere, the perpetual victims, the drama magnets, the emotional sinkholes that devour anyone who tries to help. Saving them feels noble. It feeds your empathy and flatters your ego. You get to be the hero for a moment. But heroes who never stop saving eventually drown because these people don't want solutions. They want cycles. They want to pull you close enough to validate their pain, then far enough to blame you when it returns. Power begins when you stop mistaking compassion for obligation. You can love people without letting them drain you. You can wish them healing without volunteering as their medicine. Before you reach for someone, ask yourself, do they want out or just company in the water? The strongest form of help is distance. Distance forces self-reflection. It ends the illusion that you can fix what they keep choosing. If they truly want to rise, they will. And if they don't, you'll finally have the energy to swim elsewhere toward your own peace, your own purpose, your own shore. You can't heal people who find identity in being broken, but you can inspire them by surviving without them. And that, sometimes, is the only rescue worth offering. Secrets are worth more than gold. Everyone talks too much. They reveal plans, weaknesses, and dreams to people who haven't earned the right to hold them. But in a world obsessed with exposure, the one who stays hidden becomes priceless. Secrets aren't just protection, they're leverage. They separate those who react from those who rule. Think of your life like a vault. Every thought, every goal, every heartbreak, each is a coin of energy. Every time you tell someone everything, you make a withdrawal. But when you hold silence, that energy compounds. You move quietly, while others waste time explaining their moves. You gain a strange kind of power, the power of unpredictability. People fear what they can't label. They respect what they can't read. Secrets make you magnetic because they make you mysterious. Mystery makes you valuable. The more you explain yourself, the cheaper your essence becomes. Guard your privacy like it's treasure, because it is. Oversharing invites opinion, and opinion dilutes purpose. You don't owe transparency to anyone who hasn't proven they can protect it. Let curiosity do your talking. Let actions tell stories words could ruin. The ones who know nothing can't sabotage anything. The ones who guess wrongly make your legend grow. That's how discretion becomes dominance. Keep something sacred. A plan, a belief, a dream. Too fragile for careless eyes. Not out of deceit, but out of self-respect. Because once you give everything away, you stop owning it. Secrets, like gold, gain worth through rarity. And when the world starts demanding to see inside, the truest power move is smiling quietly, because they'll never know how much more you hold. Control what you reveal. People don't see you as you are. They see what you show them and what you hide. Every glance, every reaction, every word teaches others how to treat you. So control what they learn. Control the image, and you control the narrative. This isn't manipulation. It's awareness. You can't stop people from forming opinions, but you can decide what evidence they get to work with. When you reveal emotion too easily, they learn how to trigger it. When you share weakness without boundaries, they start to test its edges. But when you choose precision, when you reveal only what aligns with your intent, you remain untouchable. Powerful people curate themselves. They share in layers, each one designed to reveal just enough humanity to be relatable, but never enough to be predictable. They leave room for curiosity, and curiosity is what keeps others engaged. Think of revelation like a spotlight. Wherever you aim it, that part of you becomes your story. Choose carefully. Some truths belong in the dark until they've matured enough to survive scrutiny. You owe no one the raw version of your inner life. You can be honest without being exposed, transparent without being see-through. The secret is to reveal what strengthens the image you want remembered. You're not hiding, you're editing. You're crafting how your presence is perceived. Every reveal is a decision, every silence a filter. And the more intentional you become, the more powerful your simplicity appears. Because mystery, when controlled, isn't distance, it's magnetism. Disappear to increase your value. The easiest way to make people notice your worth is to take it away. Disappear, not forever, but long enough for silence to make its point. Absence sharpens memory. Overexposure dulls everything, even brilliance. When you're always available, your energy becomes background noise. But when you withdraw, even slightly, your presence starts to echo. This isn't about games or manipulation. It's about balance. People can't appreciate what they never risk losing. Space reminds them that you are a choice, not a guarantee. When you step away, those who only stayed for convenience drift off, and that's clarity, not loss. Those who truly value you will notice the gap and move closer. Disappearing is a strategy, not punishment. It recharges your focus and resets your boundaries. Solitude restores your power of choice, the ability to decide who deserves your time again. If you feel overlooked, vanish. If you feel drained, vanish. Let your silence say what your words can't. Absence is the great amplifier. It multiplies the value of your presence by teaching others that access to you is a privilege, not a right. Return on your own terms. Stronger, calmer, rarer. Watch how the room changes when you walk back in. The quiet one who left returns with gravity. And everyone who once took you for granted suddenly remembers the rarest things aren't loud. They're the ones that disappear before you realize how much you needed them. Starve the ego. Feed the plan. The ego is hungry. It feeds on validation, attention, and small wins that look like progress but only keep you circling the same spot. It wants to be seen working, praised for trying, admired for almost making it. But the plan, the real plan, doesn't need applause. It needs consistency, sacrifice, and silence. Every time you show off before you're done, you give your power away. The ego wants recognition now. The plan wants results later. That's the conflict at the heart of every failure. You can't serve both. You either perform for approval or build for longevity. The ego wants noise to post, to brag, to explain. The plan wants stillness to refine, to repeat, to stay invisible until it's undeniable. When you stop feeding the ego, you start creating momentum that doesn't collapse under attention. The fewer people watching, the freer you become. The work sharpens, the distractions fade. Progress compounds quietly. It's not glamorous. You'll feel invisible. You'll wonder if it's worth it, but that hunger for validation is just withdrawal. The ego detoxing from dependency. Keep starving it. Let it weaken. Every time you resist showing proof too early, you build pressure inside your work. That pressure becomes impact when you finally reveal it. The day you stop performing, something changes. The results start speaking. People will think you appeared overnight, but you'll know how long you've been underground. That's what starving the ego does. It builds roots while everyone else chases flowers. So don't announce. Don't prove. Don't seek credit. Feed the plan, quietly and obsessively. When it's ready, it will roar for you. Until then, learn to love the quiet grind. Because the ego dies from neglect, but the plan grows strong in darkness. And when it finally emerges, it won't ask for attention, it will demand it. Use boredom as your training ground. Boredom is where most people surrender. They crave stimulation so badly that silence feels like punishment. But boredom is not a void. It's a forge. It's where focus hardens and distraction dies. Every skill, every art, every great discipline is born in the hours no one sees, when the mind itches to escape and you refuse to let it. Most people chase motivation. The powerful chase repetition. Boredom is what separates the ones who wish from the ones who become. Every moment you endure without excitement strengthens the muscle that others never build, the ability to act without reward. When you learn to sit in monotony, you begin to master time. You no longer need dopamine to function. You stop waiting for inspiration because your body knows what to do without it. That's where greatness hides, not in passion, but in persistence. Think of boredom as resistance training for the mind. Each time you push through it, you double your endurance for focus. While others quit to seek novelty, you're still here, sharpening, refining, becoming dangerous through consistency. The ones who can handle boredom are the ones who finish, and the ones who finish rewrite the rules for everyone else. So next time your work feels dull, don't escape it. Stay. Watch your restlessness. Train inside it. Because boredom isn't a signal to stop, it's proof that you're finally doing something long enough for it to matter. Master boredom and you master the part of yourself that always wants to quit. And when that voice dies, all that's left is momentum. Quiet, relentless, unstoppable. Don't demand respect, command it silently. Respect can't be requested. The moment you demand it, you reveal you don't have it. Real respect is gravitational. It pulls people toward you without needing persuasion. It's built through consistency, composure, and quiet boundaries that never need to be announced. The loudest people rarely command respect. They command reaction. They confuse fear with influence, compliance with admiration. But fear fades and admiration lingers. The kind of respect that lasts is earned in silence through your ability to stay steady while others tremble. To command respect, you first have to master restraint. Don't rush to defend yourself against every opinion. Don't try to prove your worth in rooms that misjudge you. Every unnecessary explanation chips away at your mystique. Let your work speak in your absence. Let your stillness suggest certainty. People learn from patterns, not declarations. When you respond calmly to pressure, they register it. When you keep your word, they record it. When you walk away from disrespect without dramatics, they remember it. Over time, these moments become your reputation, one built on gravity, not noise. The truth is, people treat you the way you teach them to, not through demands, but through boundaries held with calm precision. When you stop reacting to disrespect, it has nowhere left to land. So never announce your standards. Live them. Let silence carry them. Because the quietest confidence always commands the loudest respect. Attention is the new currency. Every system, media, politics, business, runs on attention. It's no longer just a resource, it's a form of control. Whoever captures attention controls emotion, and whoever controls emotion shapes behavior. The trick is that most people give it away for free. Your focus is the most valuable thing you own, and yet you trade it constantly for distraction, validation, entertainment, noise. Every scroll, every notification, every pointless argument is an invisible transaction that weakens your control over yourself. The powerful understand this, so they protect their attention like a fortress. Attention is how reality gets built. What you look at expands. What you ignore dissolves. If you keep feeding chaos, your world becomes chaos. But if you direct your attention with intention, your world sharpens. You start to see what others overlook. Opportunities hidden beneath the noise. To master attention is to reclaim time. It's to filter ruthlessly who gets your energy, what gets your reaction, what earns your thoughts. Imagine your focus as light through a magnifying glass. Scattered, it warms nothing. Concentrated, it burns through obstacles. Withdraw your attention from what drains it. Redirect it toward what compounds it. Let boredom become rest instead of weakness. Let curiosity be your compass. In the end, attention shapes identity. You become what you focus on most often, so choose carefully, because attention is the new power, and whoever wastes yours owns you. Make people chase your silence. Most people chase attention. They fill every pause, post every thought, explain every emotion, until there's nothing left to wonder about. But curiosity is the most powerful social currency there is. If people already understand you, they stop thinking about you. But if they can't read you completely, their mind keeps looping. Silence becomes an obsession. The trick is to be visible, but unpredictable. You don't need to vanish, just create gaps. Gaps in response, in presence, in access. Let people feel the absence of your voice before you offer it again. That space becomes psychological tension. They start anticipating your next word, next move, next appearance, and that anticipation, controlled properly, is power. This isn't manipulation. It's rhythm. People get addicted to patterns. Break the rhythm and they start chasing closure. Delay replies. Speak after others, stop expecting it. End conversations first. Each subtle disruption trains attention to orbit around you. Mystery multiplies value. The fewer clues you give, the more meaning others assign to your silence. They'll study your pauses like language. They'll replay your words, searching for what you didn't say. You're not withholding affection. You're teaching appreciation. Constant availability breeds boredom. Silence brings weight back to your voice. So stop rushing to fill every silence. Let curiosity work for you. In a noisy world, silence becomes status. When you finally speak again, every ear leans closer, not because you demanded it, but because your absence created need. And that's how you turn quiet into gravity. Detach faster than they can manipulate. Attachment is how power changes hands. The moment you need someone's approval, you give them control. The moment you crave their reaction, they own your peace. Detachment isn't coldness, it's clarity. It's seeing connections for what they are. Choices, not chains. Manipulation feeds on emotional delay. It thrives in the time it takes you to realize you're being pulled. Detachment shortens that window. When someone tries to provoke you, distance yourself mentally before they finish the sentence. That's speed. That's survival. Most manipulation works because people want to believe it. They want to feel chosen, special, understood. Detachment doesn't destroy connection. It filters illusion. It lets you feel deeply without drowning in expectation. You stop assuming affection means loyalty or apology means change. You start reading patterns, not promises. To detach isn't to stop caring. It's to care intelligently. It's to respond from logic instead of wounds. The faster you detach, the less others can twist your reactions into leverage. You'll notice that manipulators grow confused around you. They can't hook what doesn't cling. Practice emotional speed. When tension rises, slow your breath, step back mentally, and observe rather than absorb. You'll see every trick unfold in slow motion. You'll see where you used to fall for it and where you never will again. Detachment is freedom disguised as indifference. It's how you stop being the puppet and start being the one holding the strings. Weakness spoken becomes a target. Every time you tell someone what breaks you, you give them a map. Maybe not today, maybe not intentionally, but one day they'll use it, because even good people get desperate, and desperation makes weapons out of information. The world romanticizes vulnerability, but in practice, it's risky. Not everyone deserves the truth about your fears. Some will listen to understand. Others will listen to prepare. And when conflict comes, they'll aim where you once confessed you hurt. Guard your emotional blueprints. Speak of struggle only when it's resolved, not while you're inside it. Share lessons, not wounds. When you discuss pain from distance, it becomes wisdom. When you discuss it mid-battle, it becomes leverage. This doesn't mean isolation. It means discernment. Confide in the few who've proven they can carry your weight without using it. And even then, keep something for yourself. Something untouched, unshared, invincible. Power thrives in selective revelation. Let the world see your composure, not your cracks. People respect what they can't destabilize. They may guess your weaknesses, but never confirm them. Because once you say, This hurts me. Someone somewhere will test it just to see if it still does. Hold your softness behind strategy. Heal privately. And remember, the less they know about how to break you, the less they'll ever be able to. Watch without needing to react. Observation is power. Reaction is debt. The moment you react, you give something away: focus, emotion, energy. Most people spend their lives responding to the world, not directing it. But when you learn to observe without immediate judgment, you start to see the machinery beneath everything: motives, insecurities, repetition, cause and effect. Watch people long enough, and patterns replace surprises. You'll see how anger hides fear, how confidence covers shame, how charm conceals manipulation. You'll stop taking things personally because you'll realize nothing people do is about you. It's all about them. Reactivity is the leash that keeps most minds small. You can't control what you instantly obey. Every time you rush to argue, defend, or explain, you confirm someone else's influence over your peace. The observer breaks that chain. They wait. They analyze. They choose. To watch without reacting is not apathy. It's control. It's learning that not every invitation to conflict deserves attendance. It's understanding that silence can expose truth faster than confrontation ever could. So next time someone tries to provoke you, stay still. Let the silence stretch. You'll watch their performance crumble under its own weight. You'll see the insecurity that started it, and you'll walk away unmarked while they drown in their own noise. True mastery isn't in quick replies. It's in quiet understanding. When you learn to see without needing to act, you gain an advantage no one can match: patience that terrifies and clarity that conquers. People fear what they don't understand. Mystery is magnetic because it unsettles. People fear what they can't categorize, and fear breeds fascination. The mind hates uncertainty. It fills the blanks with myth. That's how legends are made, not through explanation, but through absence. The most powerful figures in history understood this. They revealed just enough to be memorable, never enough to be predictable. Every unanswered question became a spark that fueled imagination. You can use that same principle. Stop over-explaining your choices. Let your silence carry suggestion. Let people wonder what else you might know. Fear and respect are siblings born of the same confusion. You don't need people to be afraid of you. You only need them uncertain about where your limits end. That uncertainty will make them cautious, deferential, curious. And curiosity is the leash that keeps their attention where you want it. To be fully understood is to be fully disarmed. Predictability kills influence. When people think they can read you, they stop respecting you. They start rehearsing how to handle you. But when they can't quite pin you down, they start preparing for you instead. Don't chase clarity. Let perception work in your favor. Be the calm in the room that no one can interpret. Smile in moments where anger is expected. Speak when silence feels heavy. Each deviation from expectation deepens your mystery. And remember, the mind fears what it doesn't understand, but it also obeys it. That's why power always wears a mask. Give nothing you can afford to lose. Everything you give, time, emotion, loyalty, trust, costs something. Power comes from knowing the price before you pay it. Most people give impulsively. They hand out access, affection, and forgiveness like free samples, hoping it will make them loved. But love built on unpriced giving becomes debt, not devotion. Before you give, pause. Ask yourself, what happens if this is never returned? Can I afford to lose it? If the answer is no, you're gambling your peace for someone else's approval. Healthy giving comes from abundance, not desperation. You share because you choose to, not because you're afraid not to. You invest only what you can release without resentment. That's how you protect both your energy and your dignity. The most dangerous givers aren't cold. They're calculated. They know that generosity loses power when it becomes predictable. They give strategically to people and causes that amplify their values. Everything else receives boundaries, not bitterness. When you give nothing you can't afford to lose, you never lose yourself. You stop chasing closure because you no longer expect return. You begin to give like a river flows, naturally, abundantly, but without apology when it changes course. Generosity without awareness is how the world drains the strong. But generosity with discernment, that's how the strong shape the world. So protect your currency, your time, your emotion, your effort. Spend it with precision, and remember the value of what you give rises the moment you stop offering it to everyone. Learn to say no without emotion. No is the cleanest sentence in existence. Yet it's the one most people can't say without guilt. They dress it up, soften it, apologize for it, until it no longer means anything. But power begins the moment you can say no with calm finality, without anger, without fear, without justification. Every yes you give out of obligation is a withdrawal from your future. It's how dreams die quietly, death by 1,000 tiny permissions. People don't take advantage of you because they're cruel. They do it because you keep teaching them that your time and energy are free. Learning to say no is not rebellion, it's boundary management. It's how you protect your inner order from outer chaos. A firm no doesn't need a reason. The moment you explain, you invite negotiation. Silence after no is what gives it strength. The emotional part isn't the word itself. It's the aftershock, the guilt, the fear of being misunderstood. But understand this, people who benefit from your lack of boundaries will always call them selfish. Ignore that noise. Real respect begins when you stop buying peace at the cost of resentment. Say no with softness if you must, but say it completely. No excuses, no promises of later, just clarity. Each time you do, you build a spine that doesn't bend under pressure. The world won't collapse when you say no, but your peace will if you don't. Reward betrayal with distance. Betrayal doesn't always come with knives. Sometimes it arrives with apologies, explanations, or tears. The world teaches you to forgive quickly, to patch wounds so everyone can feel comfortable again. But power isn't found in reconciliation, it's found in distance. When someone shows you their loyalty is conditional, don't argue with them. Observe, don't ask why. Don't demand closure. Distance answers more honestly than confrontation ever will. You don't punish betrayal. You make it irrelevant. That's how you protect your peace without poisoning it. Distance is the cleanest revenge. It denies access to your presence, your energy, your influence. The betrayer expects anger. It feeds their ego, confirms their importance. What they can't handle is silence. Silence erases them from your emotional world. It teaches them that betrayal doesn't earn attention. It earns exile. Forgiveness can coexist with distance. You can release resentment without reopening doors. Some bridges need burning, not because hate keeps you warm, but because the ashes light your path forward. The hardest part isn't leaving. It's resisting the temptation to explain why. But explanations are gifts for the deserving, and betrayal voids that privilege. Walk away without ceremony. Don't announce, don't warn, just vanish into calm certainty. Time will turn your silence into a mirror they can't stop looking into. And eventually they'll see themselves exactly as they were, the reason they lost access to something rare. Speak softly, strike precisely. Power isn't loud. It's surgical. The most dangerous voices are the calmest because they choose every word like a weapon. They know that volume reveals emotion, and emotion reveals weakness. Speaking softly disarms people. It forces them to lean in, to listen harder. The quiet voice owns the room because it controls rhythm. Loud people fight for attention. Soft ones already have it. But softness alone isn't power. It's precision. Every word you release must carry weight. Speak with intent, not impulse. If your tone is calm but your message cuts through confusion, you'll always appear in control, even when others lose composure. Precision means saying less, but meaning more. It means removing filler until what remains lands like a strike. Words can wound deeper than anger ever could when they're sharpened by restraint. Don't let others drag you into noise. When they raise their voices, lower yours. The contrast exposes their insecurity and amplifies your authority. The world is trained to equate calm with confidence, and confidence becomes command. So speak softly. Let stillness precede every statement. Let silence sharpen every syllable. And when you finally strike, when your voice breaks the quiet, make it undeniable. Because true power doesn't shout, it whispers once and changes the atmosphere forever. Never outshine until it sets too late. The fastest way to make enemies is to reveal brilliance too early. Most people don't hate excellence. They hate proximity to it. They want progress around them, not ahead of them. To survive among fragile egos, you must learn restraint. Hide your light until the moment no one can dim it. Outshining too soon provokes competition before you've built protection. The insecure mistake your talent for threat. They'll smile, but their pride will plot. Power grows in shadows for a reason. It's safest there. Patience is your camouflage. Let others feel superior while you gather skill quietly. Nod, observe, learn. By the time they realize what you've become, it's too late to stop you. You'll already hold the ground they thought was theirs. The wise never flaunt potential. They reveal results. Let your work appear sudden, like lightning, unexpected, irreversible. That's how you bypass envy. By the time your light blinds them, the world is already watching, and their bitterness looks like noise against your silence. So blend in until blending in becomes impossible. Feed on obscurity until obscurity feeds on you. Because power announced is power targeted, but power revealed too late is power no one can contain. Use doubt as a source of power. Confidence looks powerful, but doubt is what keeps power alive. Confidence blinds. Doubt sharpens. It forces you to verify, to question, to adapt. Every failure begins where certainty hardens and curiosity dies. The strongest minds aren't the ones who never doubt, they're the ones who use doubt as fuel. Doubt isn't weakness, it's awareness. It's a signal that your mind still works, that you haven't fallen asleep inside your own opinions. When used properly, doubt turns arrogance into accuracy. It asks, what am I missing? What could go wrong? Who benefits if I'm wrong? Those questions build strategy. They keep your ego on a leash. The trick is not letting doubt paralyze you. Too little, and you become reckless. Too much, and you become frozen. True power walks that line, uncertain enough to prepare, confident enough to move. You don't need blind faith in your abilities. You need precision, forged in skepticism. Use doubt to see what others can't. Let it whisper during moments of praise, reminding you that applause can be camouflage. Let it speak before every leap, not to stop you, but to help you land better. Because the ones who never doubt are the ones who never notice the knife until it's already inside them. So stay confident, but never certain. Doubt keeps your eyes open when success tries to close them. Predict patterns, not words. People lie easily with language, but their patterns never lie. Watch how they react when they're ignored, when they're praised, when they're threatened. These repetitions reveal everything: habits, fears, desires. If you want to know someone's truth, stop listening and start tracking. Words are temporary. Patterns are prophecy. Every person leaves a trail of predictability if you study long enough. The same excuses, the same timing, the same tone before deceit. Once you learn to spot it, you start seeing behavior before it happens. You begin predicting the storm before clouds appear. Pattern reading is the difference between reaction and preemption. Most people respond after impact. The wise adjust course before contact. They don't need confrontation because foresight already made it irrelevant. Study people like weather. Their moods have seasons, their motives have cycles. When you recognize the rhythm, you no longer fear surprises, you choreograph them. This isn't paranoia, it's perception. It's knowing that predictability is nature's rule, not exception. And once you start noticing patterns, the chaos of human behavior becomes strangely peaceful. You realize everyone is predictable, including you. The key is noticing sooner than they do. The ones who see patterns control outcomes. The ones who chase words control nothing. Mirror their energy, not their words. People communicate energy before language. You can tell when a room feels tense before a single word is spoken. You sense when someone's tone hides resentment, even if their words sound polite. That energy is truth, the current beneath the conversation. Mirror that, not the script. When you match someone's energy, they feel understood on a level they can't explain. It bypasses the intellect and goes straight to instinct. They relax. They trust. They start aligning without realizing why. That's influence felt, not argued. But mirroring energy doesn't mean surrendering identity. It means using awareness to control flow. If someone comes in anxious, you lower your tempo until theirs slows to meet yours. If they're arrogant, you stay composed until confidence feels contagious. You become the emotional thermostat, not the thermometer. Words often lie. Energy doesn't. The angry one might speak calm sentences, but their tension leaks through eyes and rhythm. Mirror what's true, not what's said. Mastering energy mirroring gives you quiet command. It keeps situations from escalating, diffuses resistance, and makes you the gravitational center of the room. People start syncing to your frequency because stability feels like safety. So forget the script. Read the current beneath it. When you control the tone of the unseen, you control everything that's seen. Hide confidence inside humility. Confidence that's visible is easy to challenge. Confidence that hides inside humility is untouchable. The loud kind invites competition. The quiet kind commands trust. The moment you need to prove you're capable, you've already stepped off the throne. Real power doesn't need to be declared. It only needs to be demonstrated once decisively and without fanfare. Humility doesn't mean downplaying your worth. It means protecting it from inflation. You don't tell people what you can do. You let them discover it slowly. The less you broadcast, the more control you keep. Surprise is leverage. Predictability is weakness. The humble are underestimated, which is their greatest advantage. They move under the radar, while others waste energy defending their egos. The truly confident build quietly, letting noise destroy itself. By the time anyone realizes their depth, it's too late to catch up. In a world obsessed with image, humility becomes rebellion. It makes you unreadable, unfazed, immune to performance. Let others chase validation. You'll be too busy building substance. And when the moment comes to show your skill, it won't be arrogance. It'll be revelation. So practice invisible assurance. Speak with certainty, but without boasting. A calm tone cuts deeper than self-congratulation. People trust those who don't need to prove anything, and trust is the seed of influence. Because the most dangerous confidence doesn't shout. It smiles quietly while the world underestimates it. Never beg for clarity, create it. Most confusion isn't accidental. It's strategic. People keep things vague to maintain control. Uncertainty keeps you chasing answers, seeking approval, craving closure. But the moment you stop begging for clarity and start creating it, the balance shifts. When someone sends mixed signals, treat the confusion as your answer. Don't ask what they meant. Decide what you'll allow. Clarity isn't something others give. It's something you impose. You end the guessing game by refusing to play. The powerful don't chase explanations. They read patterns, make conclusions, and move accordingly. If the truth isn't offered freely, it's not worth requesting. Your peace should never depend on someone else's honesty. Creating clarity is quiet. You observe, interpret, act, and let time confirm. No arguments, no begging, no drama. Every unclear situation becomes a mirror for your boundaries. When people sense that you won't wait forever for transparency, they either step up or fade away, and both outcomes serve you. Don't waste breath extracting truth from those who thrive on confusion. Ambiguity is their camouflage. Take it away, and they disappear. So when in doubt, stop asking what they mean. Decide what you mean. Because control doesn't come from knowing, it comes from refusing to be kept in the dark. Keep plans unspoken until they sit done. Every plan loses a little power the moment it's spoken aloud. Words invite energy from others, doubt, envy, interference, or distraction. Silence keeps momentum pure. You don't need witnesses to your preparation. You need results that arrive without warning. Talking about goals tricks the brain into feeling progress before any work begins. You enjoy the illusion of achievement while losing the hunger to pursue it. That's why the disciplined speak less. They save their announcements for after completion, when proof silences skepticism. Keeping plans unspoken isn't secrecy, it's self-protection. When you move quietly, resistance can't form against what no one sees. You eliminate the noise of outside opinions, the subtle sabotage of people who smile while hoping you stall. Work quietly until success becomes undeniable. Let others find out by accident when the results are too real to question. That's how you earn awe instead of advice. Your silence builds tension. It creates an aura of inevitability. People stop underestimating you once they realize you only reveal what's already finished. So guard your ambitions like blueprints, private, evolving, sacred, because every goal spoken prematurely becomes a target, and every one completed in silence becomes a legend. Never be the most emotional one. The moment you become the most emotional person in the room, you lose the room. Emotion is energy, and whoever controls it controls the direction of everything that follows. When your voice rises, when your tone trembles, when your eyes plead, the other side learns exactly where your buttons are. And once they know that, they can press them at will. Emotion isn't weakness, but exposure. It gives away your values, your limits, your breaking points. The calm ones don't win because they feel less. They win because they leak less. They let emotion exist without letting it decide. When tension rises, train yourself to slow down instead of speed up. Take a breath before answering. Use pauses like armor. Let silence cool the room until your words can cut cleanly through it. Never match someone else's emotional temperature. People rise to drag you higher or drop to pull you down. Both are traps. Stay steady. Let others boil while you remain composed. In their eyes, you'll start to look unshakable. And the unshakable always lead, even in chaos. Control of emotion is control of narrative. The one who stays calm defines what happens next. So speak gently, move slowly, and never let anyone see what you're feeling before you've decided what to do with it. Because power isn't about not having emotion, it's about making emotions serve you. Turn rejection into reputation. Rejection feels like death to the ego, but it's actually promotion for the soul. Every no you receive tells you where your time, energy, and loyalty don't belong. But instead of seeing rejection as loss, treat it as filtration. Each refusal removes distraction, exposing what's truly yours. The trick is how you handle it. People watch your response to failure more than they ever watched your effort. If rejection makes you bitter, they remember the bitterness. If it makes you better, they remember the transformation. Refuse to chase acceptance. Let it chase you. When you walk away with calm dignity, you plant an image that outlasts the rejection itself. You become the one who didn't beg to be chosen. You chose yourself, and that decision radiates strength. Rejection also protects you. It prevents false alliances, shallow praise, and misplaced loyalty. It saves you from building castles on weak foundations. So instead of shrinking, reframe. Tell yourself, they didn't deny me. They defined me. Let rejection sculpt your image of resilience. Let it whisper to others that you're unbothered, focused, inevitable. The ones who learn to turn rejection into reputation become untouchable, because while everyone else seeks validation, you already turn no into momentum. Anger is free fuel. Burn it wisely. Anger is pure energy. Dangerous when wild, unstoppable when harnessed. Most people waste it, screaming, arguing, breaking things that can't fight back. But anger isn't meant for noise, it's meant for transformation. It's the body's signal that something must change, not necessarily something must explode. You can't kill anger. You can only channel it. Use it to sharpen focus, to lengthen endurance, to prove something quietly. Every insult can be repurposed into discipline. Every betrayal can become fuel. That's what separates reactors from alchemists, the ability to turn fire inward without letting it burn the house down. When you're angry, don't move fast. Move precise. Let the adrenaline clear the fog instead of creating it. Write instead of yell. Work instead of retaliate. Transform the ache into architecture. The most dangerous person in the world is the one who knows how to feel rage without showing it. Their calm doesn't mean absence of heat. It means mastery of it. Others will mistake your composure for forgiveness, but inside, you'll be building something far more permanent than revenge. Don't suppress anger. Refine it. Let it power you without poisoning you. Because in its purest form, anger is just unspent strength waiting for direction. And once it's pointed toward purpose, it becomes fire that no one can put out. Obsess in silence, win in shadows. Obsession is what separates the remembered from the forgotten. Not talent, not luck. Just the unrelenting willingness to return to the same task, the same idea, the same invisible work long after everyone else has moved on. Obsession is devotion that's outgrown permission. But the mistake most people make is trying to prove it. They talk too much, share too early, reveal the dream before it has armor. And when you reveal what's still fragile, the world breaks it for you. That's why the obsessed must move quietly. Silence becomes protection. You build in darkness not because you're hiding, but because light distorts things that are still forming. The process requires isolation. You stop needing validation because your focus starts feeding itself. Time bends. Days blur. You forget to care who's watching because the work becomes your witness. There's beauty in the monotony. While others chase stimulation, you learn the discipline of boredom. Each repetition tightens the design. Each unnoticed hour adds another layer to your inevitability. People will think you disappeared. In truth, you were multiplying. Let them underestimate your stillness, the loud burnout in public, the quiet sharpen in private. By the time you emerge, there will be nothing left to explain. The shadows that hid you will introduce you better than any announcement ever could. So let your obsession become ritual. Let your silence hum like machinery beneath the surface. Win in private, until winning in public feels redundant. Because power is never loud while it's building. It's only loud when it arrives. And by then, the world will call your silence genius. Empathy without boundaries kills power. Empathy is the ability to step into another's world, but step too far, and you forget where yours begins. That's the danger. The quiet erosion of self that comes from feeling everything too deeply. The world praises compassion, yet rarely warns of its cost. Without boundaries, empathy becomes emotional servitude. People will sense your openness like heat. The broken, the manipulative, the endlessly needy, they'll gravitate to it. They'll drain you not out of malice, but out of habit. They mistake your patience for permanence, your softness for permission. And one day you wake up exhausted, not because you cared, but because you never stopped. True empathy requires containment. You can understand pain without absorbing it. You can listen without becoming the vessel. That distance doesn't make you cold. It makes you sustainable. The surgeon doesn't bleed with the patient. The fireman doesn't burn with the house. Detachment doesn't destroy compassion. It preserves it. Start protecting your energy the way you'd protect a rare flame. If everyone warms themselves by it, soon there's nothing left. Care intelligently. Choose who earns your empathy. Observe when your help heals and when it feeds dependency. Boundaries are love's skeleton. Without them, kindness collapses into resentment. With them, empathy becomes something rarer, an act of strength instead of sacrifice. You can still care deeply, but do it with your eyes open. Because the moment you start believing every pain is yours to fix, you stop being human, you start becoming fuel, and the world will burn through you gladly. The first to react always loses. Reaction is surrender disguised as control. It feels powerful in the moment, the rush of adrenaline, the satisfaction of release, but every reaction is proof that someone else steered your emotions before you even noticed. The first to react hands over command. The first to wait takes it back. Every manipulator, every provocateur, every subtle aggressor understands this. They push to see how fast you'll move. If you rise instantly, they learn your thresholds. If you pause, they lose their script. In that pause, they start doubting their performance, revealing insecurity that speech would have hidden. Silence always makes truth louder. The art is not suppression, it's delay. You breathe, you observe, you let their energy pass through you without catching fire. The longer you wait, the more control you recover. Stillness feels unbearable at first. Your instincts scream for defense. But stillness becomes addictive once you realize how predictable others become when you stop playing their rhythm. Power lives in response, not reaction. You're not avoiding conflict, you're repositioning within it. You become the eye of the storm, the place chaos can't touch. And when you finally do respond, it's surgical, calculated, devastating in its accuracy. Practice this daily. When someone insults you, pause. When they rush you, slow down. When they provoke emotion, shift into observation. You'll see that reactivity is the leash that keeps most people controlled. Cut it. Replace it with quiet, measured response. Because in every argument, every negotiation, every moment of tension, the rule is simple. The first to react loses. The one who waits owns the outcome. Let them think you don't care. Power often comes from indifference, not real indifference, but the appearance of it. When people can't tell what matters to you, they can't control you. The moment you reveal investment, you reveal leverage. That's why the most composed people often look detached. It's not that they don't feel, it's that they refuse to make their emotions public property. Indifference disarms manipulation. Those who try to provoke you, guilt you, or compete with you lose interest when they can't move you. Drama feeds on attention, and starvation kills it. The calm smile, the neutral tone, the unbothered silence, these are not signs of apathy. They're signals of discipline. Pretending not to care is not dishonesty. It's strategy. You care deeply, but you decide when and how to express it. You choose where to invest that energy. Most people spend it trying to prove they're right, loved, or respected. The powerful conserve it like oxygen. Let them think you're unmoved. Let them guess what you value. That mystery becomes armor. People chase reactions. They worship validation. When you provide neither, you become an unsolvable puzzle. And what the human mind can't solve, it obsesses over. The truth is, indifference is not cold. It's focused. You're not detached from people. You're detached from outcome. You stop needing everything to go your way, and that's when life starts obeying you instead of testing you. So when the world expects a reaction, give it stillness. When someone tries to hurt you, give them absence. When they demand your attention, give them silence. That's how you flip control, by caring, quietly, only where it truly matters. Trust slowly, withdraw quietly. Trust is currency. The more freely you give it, the faster it loses value. Most people treat trust as a gift. The wise treat it as a contract, renewable, conditional, and always subject to review. The ones who earn it must maintain it. The ones who break it don't deserve confrontation. They deserve disappearance. Trust slowly. Watch patterns, not promises. Anyone can speak loyalty, but consistency whispers it louder. Take your time. Observe what people do when you're no longer useful to them. The truth of character reveals itself only when there's nothing to gain. When betrayal happens, don't announce your disappointment. Withdraw quietly. Anger gives closure to the guilty. Silence leaves them haunted. They'll replay every interaction, searching for the exact moment you noticed. They'll wonder if they imagined your warmth. That uncertainty is its own justice. Rebuilding trust after betrayal is possible, but not with the same person. It's rebuilt with yourself, in the form of better boundaries. Learn, adjust, strengthen the locks, not the excuses. To trust slowly is not to live in fear. It's to live awake. It's realizing that people don't always mean harm, but they're driven by self-interest. Understanding that doesn't make you cynical. It makes you accurate. And when you walk away, do it without sound. Let distance do the explaining. The absence of your trust will echo louder than any accusation ever could. Attention exposes, solitude protects. Attention is the most dangerous light. It warms at first, until you realize it burns. The more eyes on you, the more opinions shape you. You begin performing instead of living, curating instead of growing. The self becomes a stage, and soon you forget where the mask ends. Solitude reverses that process. It strips away the performance and leaves only what's real. Alone, you don't need to charm or prove. You hear your thoughts again. You meet the version of yourself that existed before the world's expectations rewrote your instincts. Most people fear solitude because it reveals too much. It shows them how shallow their noise has become. But solitude isn't punishment. It's maintenance. It's where you clear the static of others' voices until your own sounds like home again. Attention inflates ego. Solitude builds integrity. The first is temporary power. The second is permanent peace. That's why every empire of the mind is built in silence before it's displayed in public. So when attention finds you, step carefully. Accept it, but don't depend on it. Use solitude as your reset, the dark room where you recalibrate before re-entering the light. Because attention may expose your image, but solitude keeps your essence intact. And in the long run, it's not the most visible who stay powerful. It's the ones who know when to vanish. Starve the drama, feed the discipline. Drama is the most addictive poison on earth. It gives people a sense of movement without progress, a rush of emotion disguised as meaning. Every argument, every rumor, every unnecessary conflict feels like importance. But importance and noise are not the same thing. You can't build focus in chaos. You can only burn out inside it. To starve drama, you must first understand its hunger. It feeds on reaction. When you argue, when you defend, when you explain, you feed it. The moment you withdraw your attention, it starves. Discipline is the opposite of drama, because it's silent, repetitive, and unrewarding to the impulsive mind. That's why few people master it. The disciplined are not born patient. They're built in boredom. They choose order over spectacle. While others argue, they build. While others gossip, they prepare. And when the noise fades, discipline is all that remains standing. To feed discipline, make repetition sacred. Turn small habits into rituals. Let the ordinary become holy through consistency. Over time, you'll notice that drama no longer excites you, it bores you. You'll stop needing chaos to feel alive because progress will replace adrenaline. Starve drama of your reaction. Feed discipline with your silence. One destroys your peace, the other shapes your destiny. Every day you choose which to nourish. Control time. Control power. Power doesn't come from strength or wealth. It comes from time. The one who controls time controls every exchange, every relationship, every negotiation. Most people live reacting to clocks. The powerful move as if time bends for them. Time mastery begins with pacing. Speak slowly, walk deliberately, think before answering. Each pause suggests abundance, that you have more minutes to spare than others. The rushed seem desperate. The calm seem in command. But deeper control comes from design. Create structure where others drift. Wake when the world sleeps. Work while others wait. The longer you stay consistent, the more time expands around you. Suddenly, tasks that take others hours take you minutes. That's the quiet math of mastery. Power also lies in patience. Time rewards those who respect its rhythm. When you force timing, you break opportunity's alignment. But when you wait precisely long enough, everything seems to arrive at once: luck, respect, results. In truth, it's not luck. It's timing finally catching up to discipline. Stop saying you don't have time. You do. It just belongs to distractions that rent your focus. Reclaim it minute by minute. When you own your time, you own your life. The powerless waste time explaining. The powerful use it as silence. Because control of time is control of perception, and perception always becomes reality. Never compete on loudness. Volume is for the insecure. Those who raise their voices are trying to drown their doubts. True authority whispers. It doesn't need to shout to be heard. It speaks and silence falls to listen. The loud fight for attention. The powerful attract it naturally. Competition through noise is the lowest form of power. In every argument, every crowd, every system, people mistake intensity for influence. But noise only lasts as long as breath. Presence lasts far longer. Never match someone else's loudness. Match their intensity through control. When others grow frantic, slow down. When they over-explain, condense. When they exaggerate, state facts quietly. The contrast will make you unforgettable. Loud people reveal themselves instantly. Calm people make others reveal themselves completely. In that calm, you'll see every weakness disguised as confidence, every insecurity hidden in performance. Your power grows as your need for attention shrinks, because once you no longer fight to be seen, people start seeking you instead. Let others shout. Let them perform. You'll remain steady, speaking softly, moving strategically, conserving energy while they burn theirs. In the end, the world always listens to the quiet one, because when chaos screams, stillness becomes the loudest sound there is. The less you need, the stronger you get. Need is the quiet chain that holds most people captive. The need to be liked, understood, admired, chosen. Every craving for approval turns strength into dependence. The moment you need something from someone, they stop seeing you as equal. They start seeing you as leverage. Freedom begins when you learn to live without immediate validation. It's not about isolation. It's about autonomy. The less you rely on external permission, the more unpredictable you become. Need makes you readable. Independence makes you dangerous. The trick isn't to stop wanting, it's to want consciously, to see desire without letting it dictate direction. When you no longer need comfort, you can take risks others can't. When you no longer need praise, you can speak truth others avoid. That's where real power hides, in self-containment. Detach from dependence piece by piece. Each thing you stop needing returns to you as energy. Stop chasing apologies. Stop expecting understanding. Stop waiting for recognition. In their absence, something unexpected happens. Peace. People will call you cold. They'll confuse your composure for arrogance. But detachment isn't cruelty. It's freedom from emotional debt. It's what allows love to become choice, not survival. Strength isn't about control. It's about self-sufficiency. Because the less you need, the less anyone can use you. Study people like a scientist. Most people judge others emotionally. They get caught in bias, in liking or disliking, in defending or condemning. The powerful watch differently. They study, they analyze, they collect data instead of opinions. When you start observing people like a scientist, everything slows down. You stop reacting to words and start measuring patterns. You see how tone changes under pressure, how kindness masks insecurity, how confidence wilts under silence. It's not cynicism, it's awareness. The world teaches emotional reading, quick impressions, surface empathy, but true understanding comes from precision. Scientists don't rush to conclusion. They gather evidence, apply that same patience to people. You'll see truths that most are too reactive to notice. Don't assume motives, test them. Don't trust consistency until it's proven under discomfort. Watch what people do when they think no one's observing. Watch what they say when there's nothing to gain. The data never lies. This mindset turns betrayal into information instead of injury. You stop taking deception personally. You start seeing it as predictable behavior from flawed systems. And once you understand the system, you stop fearing it. Study quietly, record mentally, detach from expectation. Soon you'll realize that people are not mysteries. They're equations waiting for pattern recognition. And once you can read those patterns, every room becomes transparent. The scientist never hates the experiment. They just learn what it reveals. Hide intentions behind routine. Routine is camouflage. People overlook what seems ordinary, predictable, dull. That's why your real intentions should always live inside repetition. Hide your plans in plain sight, inside what looks like habit. While others seek spectacle, you'll move quietly, masked by normalcy. The world watches movement, not stillness. They expect grand announcements, sudden shifts, visible ambition, but routine blinds them. A disciplined schedule makes you invisible because it feels safe to ignore. No one suspects the person who never changes direction. That's the one preparing to strike. Hide growth inside consistency. The same hours, the same actions, the same calm rhythm, but inside refinement compounds. Skills sharpen, resources accumulate, and when you finally move, it looks like sudden genius. Don't tell people what you're planning. Let them assume your repetition means stagnation. Let boredom guard your evolution. Routine becomes a smokescreen for the extraordinary. Predictability keeps threats asleep. The loud, the impulsive, the dramatic, they get studied and stopped. But the steady move beneath notice, their predictability, hides precision. So build your rituals. Keep them clean, quiet, uneventful. Behind them, prepare something no one expects, because the most shocking success stories are never sudden. They're the result of years disguised as ordinary days. The world underestimates the consistent. Use that. Let routine become your invisibility cloak, and behind it, build the kind of surprise that makes silence legendary. Loyalty bought, isn't it? Loyalty kept. Loyalty that costs you something to buy will cost you more to keep. It's not devotion, it's transaction. People who stand beside you only when the incentives align are not allies, they're rentals. Their presence ends when the benefits dry up. And the moment someone offers them more, they'll sell your secrets like currency. True loyalty can't be purchased. It's revealed. It comes quietly through small consistencies that ask for nothing in return. It's found in actions when no one's watching, in defense when you're not in the room. Anything else is performance. The powerful understand this. That's why they test loyalty through loss, not gain. They watch who remains when status, comfort, or usefulness disappears. That's when masks fall and intentions surface. Don't try to buy loyalty with kindness, money, or opportunity. Each of those creates dependency, not faith. Give fairly, but without expectation. Let people show what they value, because some are loyal to you, and others are loyal to the benefits of knowing you. Distance reveals which is which. When you stop providing, the pretenders drift. The real ones stay quietly, no explanation required. So stop paying for what should be earned. Loyalty bought is a leash around your own neck. Walk alone before walking beside someone whose devotion depends on conditions. Because once loyalty is rented, betrayal is already scheduled. Stay dangerous. Appear gentle. Power that flaunts itself invites resistance. Power that hides behind kindness becomes untouchable. Staying dangerous while appearing gentle is not deceit. It's design. It's knowing you can strike, but choosing restraint. That's what separates threat from mastery. Gentleness is disarming. People lower their defenses around it. They mistake calm for weakness, patience for naivety. That's when observation becomes possible. When no one feels endangered by you, they reveal everything, and you quietly collect truth. To stay dangerous is to remain capable. You train your mind and body so control becomes instinct. You could dominate, but you don't. The option is what matters, not the action. True power lives in choice, not display. Appearing gentle gives you social invisibility. It keeps enemies unprepared and allies unafraid. They underestimate you, which gives you space to move freely. No one blocks what they don't see coming. But danger must stay alive inside you. Sharpen it quietly through discipline. Keep your instincts responsive, your will unbent. Soft voice, steady eyes, patient demeanor, all covering an edge that never dulls. The world fears the loud wolves, but forgets the quiet ones. And it's the quiet ones who walk closest before striking. Stay capable, stay calm, and remember, real power doesn't need to roar. It simply knows it could. Pain is proof you still forging. Pain is not punishment. It's process. Every transformation, every meaningful change passes through discomfort. The body strains before it strengthens. The mind breaks patterns before it grows wiser. Pain is simply the heat of forging, proof that something inside you is still alive and malleable. Most people run from it. They medicate, distract, numb, but what you avoid owns you. The ones who learn to face pain directly discover its hidden message, adaptation. Pain isn't trying to destroy you, it's trying to shape you into someone strong enough for what comes next. When you stop interpreting pain as unfair, it loses its bite. It becomes feedback, a compass pointing toward your limits and inviting expansion. Fear it less, study it more. Ask, what is this teaching me? The answer will always be evolution. Every great mind, every master, every survivor has walked through pain's fire. They didn't escape it. They built homes within it. They learned to sit with it until its language became clear. You can't grow without friction. You can't mature without loss. So when pain comes, welcome it like an old teacher with cruel methods, but honest lessons. Let it burn away what's unnecessary. Let it temper what remains. Because in truth, pain is not the enemy. It's the forge, and you are the metal still being shaped. Don't chase. Replace. Chasing is confession. It announces lack. Every time you run after something, love, respect, opportunity, you admit it doesn't belong to you yet. The act of pursuit reveals power imbalance. And the more desperately you chase, the further it moves. Replacing, on the other hand, restores control. Replacement is detachment, refined into strategy. You don't cling to what leaves. You create what returns. You don't beg for understanding. You build where silence begins. The world senses when you need it too much, but it also senses when you've outgrown the need altogether. Never chase attention. Cultivate presence. Never chase approval. Embody self-respect. Never chase closure. Build clarity through action. Each time you stop chasing, something new starts gravitating toward you, things that recognize your steadiness instead of testing it. This doesn't mean indifference. It means sovereignty. It's choosing to walk instead of run, to replace instead of repeat, to evolve instead of explain. When you stop chasing, you remove motion that creates chaos. You stand still, and suddenly you become the center of gravity instead of the orbit. Chasing says, I need you to choose me. Replacing says, I've already chosen myself. So replace every distraction with discipline. Replace every rejection with redirection. Replace every lost opportunity with something designed for your pace. Because when you learn to replace instead of chase, you'll discover that nothing is truly gone, only reconfigured for your next chapter. Turn fear into precision. Fear sharpens the senses. It's survival's oldest technology, the spark that turns stillness into alertness. Most people waste it by panicking. The disciplined refine it into precision. You can't remove fear from life, but you can aim it. When fear rises, the body floods with energy. That rush can drown you or drive you. The difference is focus. If you resist fear, it controls you. If you study it, it serves you. Let its tension narrow your attention. Let it make you aware of every detail, the tone of a room, the hesitation in a voice, the shift in your own heartbeat. Fear is pure data if you stop labeling it as threat. Warriors, performers, surgeons, they all feel fear. They just treat it like caffeine for the soul. They don't deny it, they harness it. Fear becomes their metronome, keeping rhythm between chaos and calm. Next time you feel afraid, don't fight the sensation. Breathe slower. Feel how alert you become. That's not weakness. It's clarity. Use it to notice what you'd normally ignore. That's what fear was always trying to give you: awareness. Once you learn to ride fear instead of resist it, life stops feeling like survival and starts feeling like precision. You stop trembling and you start aiming. The quietest one knows the most. Stillness doesn't mean ignorance. It means data collection. The quiet ones learn faster because they listen longer. They're too busy observing to interrupt. They let others reveal themselves in detail through tone, timing, contradiction. By the time they speak, they've already mapped the entire room. Noise hides insecurity. Silence hides power. The quiet one doesn't need to fill space with words because they're busy reading everything else: the posture, the pause, the breathing between sentences. They know that real information never comes from what's said, but from what's avoided. The quiet observer doesn't chase influence. Influence chases them. Because silence is magnetic, it draws confession. People project onto stillness. They mistake your calm for safety and tell you everything they shouldn't, and you gently record it. To know more than others, say less than necessary. Speak only to confirm what you already understand. Let others fight for dominance. You'll win through insight. Silence allows for pattern recognition. It builds intuition. You'll start seeing outcomes before they unfold, because every human story follows rhythm, and silence lets you hear the beat first. The loud reveal their thoughts. The quiet reveal their results. So stay quiet, not because you lack voice, but because you're building knowledge that will one day make speaking unnecessary. Outweigh everyone. Patience isn't weakness. It's a form of pressure that breaks people without you ever lifting a hand. The world moves too fast to notice endurance, but that's where the quiet power hides. Whoever can wait longer wins more often, not because they're smarter, but because everyone else burns out first. Outwaiting isn't passive. It's strategy. It means keeping calm while others rush into mistakes. It means holding your ground when others negotiate from fear. It means staying silent long enough for impulsive minds to reveal themselves completely. Most people are terrified of stillness. They mistake it for losing. But silence isn't surrender. It's surveillance. Every argument, every competition, every pursuit of power has a rhythm. Impatient people play the first half and lose before the second. The patient learn to love the stretch of time in between, the space where everyone else gets tired, bored, careless. That's where victory quietly accumulates. Patience builds presence. When you no longer crave immediate outcomes, you stop leaking energy. You stop chasing. You start orbiting like gravity itself. People bend toward those who can outlast discomfort. So don't rush the conversation. Don't hurry the deal. Don't demand the result. Stay steady. Time is a weapon, and most hand it away. You'll win, not because you were stronger, but because you were still standing when everyone else couldn't stand the waiting anymore. Let others reveal themselves first. Most people talk to be heard, but powerful talk to be informed. If you let others speak first, they'll tell you everything you need to know, who they are, what they fear, what they want. All you have to do is listen without interruption. Silence makes people uncomfortable. To fill it, they start oversharing. They think they're winning the conversation when in truth, they're building your understanding of them. You'll notice the patterns, the small contradictions, the hints of insecurity wrapped in humor, the way flattery hides manipulation. Every word they release is a confession. Let others reveal themselves before you reveal anything. Never rush to fill the silence they leave hanging. The person who talks less always learns more. Information is leverage, and patience is the cost of collecting it. Even in conflict, this rule holds power. The one who listens first strikes last, and that strike is always cleaner. You can't miss a target you've taken time to study. Don't compete for space in conversation. Let it expand until they show you the truth of themselves. Every pause, every question, every quiet nod, it all draws them out. Because once someone believes you're listening, they'll hand you the map to their mind. And if you listen well enough, you'll never have to guess again. Never explain what they once set understand. Some truths are too heavy for certain minds. You can't teach depth to those who live on surface. You can't explain silence to those addicted to noise. The most exhausting mistake you can make is trying to clarify wisdom for those determined to misunderstand it. Explanations are energy. Once given, they're gone. The moment you over-explain, you validate confusion that wasn't accidental. It was strategic. Some people use ignorance as control. The more you explain, the smaller you become in their eyes. They don't want to understand you. They want to exhaust you. So learn to stop. Let misunderstanding live where it's earned. Those who are capable of comprehension will meet you halfway. The rest don't deserve your oxygen. This doesn't make you arrogant. It makes you efficient. You preserve your clarity for those who can hold it. Truth doesn't need to convince. It only needs to exist, and it grows sharper in silence than in argument. The need to be understood is a form of dependence. Free yourself from it. Let your work, your actions, your presence explain what words never could. You'll find peace in that restraint, the calm of no longer proving yourself to ears not built for your frequency. Because the wise don't chase comprehension, they attract it through patience and example. Turn pity into leverage. Pity is power in disguise. It lowers people's defenses, disarms their judgment, and pulls them closer. Those who are pitied are rarely feared, but they're often underestimated, and that's exactly where control begins. When people feel sorry for you, they reveal two things: their belief that they're above you and their assumption that you're harmless. Both are blind spots you can use. They speak freely around the pitied. They underestimate what's listening. In pity, they show the cards they'd never reveal to an equal. Turning pity into leverage doesn't mean deception. It means strategy. You let others feel comfortable in their perceived superiority, all while observing quietly. Their condescension becomes your camouflage. Sometimes you don't resist pity, you redirect it. You use it to reset dynamics, to collect information, to slip beneath scrutiny. And when the moment comes, you rise, calmly, fully, and without announcement. The shock is its own revenge. But pity can also appear in your own heart. Beware of offering it freely. Pity looks kind, but often hides ego, the comfort of seeing yourself as savior. Real compassion empowers others. Pity keeps them small. Learn to recognize pity from both sides. If someone pities you, let them. Smile. Keep listening. If you find yourself pitying someone, step back. Help if you can, but never at the cost of your clarity. Pity is a current that can pull or propel. The difference lies in awareness. When you stop being defined by who pities you or by whom you pity, you turn one of the oldest emotional traps into a quiet form of leverage. Detach from outcomes, master process. Control doesn't come from certainty, it comes from rhythm. You can't dictate results, but you can control the repetition that creates them. That's the paradox. The more you chase outcomes, the more they slip. The more you commit to process, the more outcomes chase you. Attachment to results is what breaks discipline. It makes every small delay feel like failure, every mistake feel like proof of inadequacy. You start grasping instead of refining. But detachment restores patience. It teaches you that progress isn't always visible, it's cumulative. Masters fall in love with the routine, not the trophy. They understand that the process itself is sacred, the meal, not the applause. Every repetition sharpens alignment, every failure becomes calibration. The outcome is just a mirror reflecting your relationship to practice. Detach from how things should happen. Focus on what's in your hands. The world rewards those who keep building when no one's watching, those who stop needing constant confirmation from the finish line. When you detach, your energy stabilizes. You stop swinging between hope and despair. The present moment becomes the workshop where greatness is built, grain by grain. Detach not because you don't care, but because care has matured into clarity. The process is the path. The path is the purpose. And mastery is nothing more than the art of not leaving it. Never be predictable twice. Predictability is comfort. For them, not for you. The moment people can anticipate your moves, they stop respecting them. Familiarity breeds invisibility. What they can predict, they can control. What they can't, they must adapt to. Unpredictability doesn't mean chaos. It means controlled variation. You build a pattern only to break it. You set expectations only to shift them slightly. Too much sameness makes you forgettable. Too much randomness makes you unreliable. Power lives in balance. Every once in a while, break rhythm, change tone, pace, presence. Keep others uncertain about which version of you they'll meet, the quiet observer or the sharp strategist. This isn't about manipulation. It's about psychological oxygen. Mystery keeps dynamics alive. When others expect reaction, give stillness. When they expect silence, deliver precision. When they expect submission, deliver calm defiance. Each deviation teaches people not to assume control over you. Never let anyone map your behavior completely. Predictability gives them the blueprint. Unpredictability gives you freedom. The goal isn't to confuse, it's to remind the world that you're not an equation, you're evolution. Consistency builds trust, but controlled unpredictability builds respect. And respect, once rooted in uncertainty, lasts longer than approval ever will. Use ambiguity to control attention. Clarity comforts. Ambiguity captivates. The mind cannot rest inside uncertainty. It keeps circling, analyzing, replaying, trying to fill the blanks. That's why mystery is the oldest form of influence. What people can't define, they can't dismiss. Ambiguity keeps others invested. It lets them project their own meaning onto your silence, your half-answer, your pause. Each time you reveal a fragment, they invent the rest. And what they invent binds them to you. Because imagination always feels personal. People don't fall in love with truth. They fall in love with what they think it means. Never explain everything. Explain just enough. The powerful speak like riddles, each sentence layered, each meaning slightly out of reach. It doesn't make you vague. It makes you dimensional. Your words become doors that open inward, not mirrors that reflect plainly. But ambiguity must be used with precision. Too much, and you become confusing. Too little, and you become replaceable. The art is balance, just enough shadow to make light interesting. Silence, when deliberate, becomes suggestion. Suggestion becomes magnetism. People follow curiosity more than authority. They don't want answers. They want the feeling of discovery. Give them that, and they'll return not for what you said, but for what you didn't. Leave space between your words. Let them echo. Let your presence invite interpretation. The less certain they are about what you think, the more they'll think about you. Ambiguity isn't manipulation, it's gravity. The undefined always pulls harder than the obvious. Reputation is a shadow. Shape it. Reputation isn't truth, it's reflection. It's the story people tell about you when you're not there. You can't control the storyteller, but you can control the light that casts the shadow. Most people chase reputation directly. They argue, explain, defend, correct. But reputation can't be argued into existence. It must be engineered through consistency. Every act, every silence, every refusal adds to the silhouette others see. You don't need to correct perception if you curate behavior. The powerful understand the game. Reputation doesn't follow reality. It creates it. Once enough people believe a narrative, the world adjusts to accommodate it. A reputation for calm makes others hesitant to test you. A reputation for precision makes them measure their words before speaking. Reputation builds invisible borders no one dares cross. But shadows distort easily. If you chase approval, the image breaks. If you hide too deeply, it fades. To shape it well, live simply, act decisively, and let consistency speak. Be seen just enough to suggest, never enough to satisfy. A strong reputation makes explanation unnecessary. People begin to assume quality, respect boundaries, and defend your name in rooms you'll never enter. Guard it like an asset. Build it through restraint, because long after your words are forgotten, the shadow of what you stood for will keep walking ahead of you. They obey what they don't sit fully grasp. Understanding creates comfort. Mystery creates obedience. When people think they fully know you, they start relaxing their respect. They categorize you, predict you, and in that predictability, your power shrinks. But when they sense something beyond comprehension, they instinctively tread carefully. Humans fear the uncertain. It's primal. When faced with what they can't define, they defer. It's the same instinct that made tribes revere storms and strangers in masks. The unknown demands caution. You can channel that. You don't need to be intimidating, just unreadable. The less they know of your inner logic, the more they assume depth. The more they assume depth, the more authority they grant you without question. That's why great leaders and thinkers speak with precision, but never full transparency. They reveal direction, not destination. This doesn't mean deception. It means intentional mystery. Let people see the results, not the recipe. Share your vision, but never your process. Explain principles, not emotions. That's how reverence grows, when comprehension stops just short of certainty. They don't need to know how you do it. They only need to know you always can. Predictability breeds comfort. Partial understanding breeds awe. So never be fully known. Leave one door locked, one motive unspoken, one rule unexplained. They'll respect what they can't map and obey what they can't master. Make mystery your armor. Mystery is protection disguised as allure. It shields you not by hiding you completely, but by making you impossible to pin down. What people can't define, they can't destroy. Every time you leave something unspoken, you reclaim control of the narrative. Transparency may feel honest, but it's exposure in disguise. Mystery, handled wisely, is truth wrapped in intention. Mystery confuses predators. It denies them targets. When they can't read what drives you, they can't predict what stops you. The manipulative depend on information. They probe for emotion, reaction, insecurity. But when you answer with silence, when your face remains calm, when your presence reveals nothing but quiet confidence, their strategy dies in your stillness. The mysterious are not dishonest. They're disciplined. They don't overshare their past. They don't broadcast their plans. They don't justify their peace. They understand that silence multiplies presence. Words reduce meaning. Absence amplifies it. People think mystery creates distance. In truth, it creates magnetism. Curiosity is the gravity of attention. What you withhold becomes sacred. The unknown draws others closer because the mind hates unfinished stories. You become an enigma they can't stop decoding, a paradox they can't stop returning to. Use mystery as both shield and spotlight. It protects your essence while amplifying your value. When you stop needing to be fully understood, you become infinitely more compelling. The world doesn't chase what it already possesses. It chases what it almost grasps but can't. So speak less, explain less, reveal less. Let your intentions remain half-lit, your emotions half-visible. Live just outside the reach of complete comprehension. Because mystery, when mastered, isn't distance, it's armor woven from curiosity itself. And once you wear it, nothing touches you directly again. Donstedt warns surprise. Warnings are for the insecure. They give people time to prepare, to resist, to measure your power before they've felt it. The moment you announce your moves, you surrender the element of inevitability. Those who warn first rarely strike last. Power is most effective when it arrives unannounced. The surprise isn't cruelty, it's strategy. A quiet pivot, an unexpected boundary, a calm refusal delivered after silence. It all lands heavier than any threat ever could. When people know what's coming, they adapt. When they don't, they yield. You don't need to threaten or predict. You need only act swiftly, decisively. And once, the world respects finality, not foreshadowing. Let your absence replace explanation. Your results replace justification. Speak softly about your plans, or not at all. Let your movement be the only announcement. Even kindness works better when unexpected. A gift given without reason strikes deeper than a gift promised. A calm answer to hostility unsettles more than anger ever could. Surprise turns ordinary gestures into symbols. Don't warn people of your growth. Don't announce your transformation. Let them notice too late, when the version of you they remembered is already gone. Power is rhythm. The predictable are readable. The silent are unreadable. Strike not from rage, but from readiness. And do it quietly, because those who never warn are the ones the world starts watching most carefully. People love the illusion of choice. The human ego craves control. Give someone the illusion that they're choosing, and they'll follow willingly. Remove that illusion, and they'll resist, even if you're leading them to what they secretly want. Influence works best when it feels voluntary. The skilled persuader never commands. They guide. They shape options so that no matter what's chosen, the outcome serves their intent. Two choices instead of one. A limited path that feels infinite. That's how power hides inside generosity, by letting people feel free while their direction is already written. But this principle applies beyond manipulation. It governs life itself. Freedom without structure becomes chaos. Too many options paralyze. Too few suffocate. The illusion of choice isn't deception. It's mercy. It gives the mind peace by narrowing chaos into clarity. So design choices that align with truth, but preserve dignity. Let others pick paths that lead to the same summit. They'll feel ownership, and ownership breeds commitment. People defend what they believe they chose. Even with yourself, use this illusion wisely. Don't force discipline. Frame it as decision. Instead of "I must do this," think "I choose to." The brain obeys freedom more easily than command. The illusion of choice isn't about control. It's about harmony. It allows influence to move invisibly, like a current beneath calm water. Control tone, not volume. Volume commands attention, but tone commands emotion. Anyone can shout to be heard. Few can speak to be felt. Tone is the unspoken signature of power. It turns simple words into instruments that tune the room. When you raise your voice, people react. When you control your tone, people respond. That difference defines leadership. Tone doesn't just carry words, it carries intention. It tells others whether to listen, to follow, or to retreat. Control tone by controlling breath. Slow breath steadies the voice, and a steady voice calms the listener. Anxiety transfers as vibration, so does confidence. When you speak slowly and softly but with conviction, people lean in. You're not overpowering them. You're inviting them into your gravity. Tone also protects you. It lets you express firmness without aggression, disagreement without conflict, power without force. The loud lose authority because they reveal emotional leakage. The calm radiate it because they reveal composure. Every negotiation, every argument, every confrontation, win it with tone. Match no one's volume. Lower it until they mirror you. Control the pitch, the pacing, the silence between words. Silence is tone too. In a noisy world, people remember the voice that steadies them. Speak like still water. Let each word ripple instead of crash. Because volume demands attention, but tone earns allegiance, and those who master it never have to raise their voice again. Promise little, deliver relentlessly. Overpromising is the currency of the insecure. They sell visions before they've built foundations, make declarations before earning the silence that follows them. Every promise is a contract with expectation, and expectations multiply faster than results. The wise promise sparingly, not because they lack confidence, but because they understand anticipation is power. When you promise too much, you dilute belief. People start watching for flaws instead of progress. But when you understate and overdeliver, you build something far more powerful than trust. You build awe, underpromise, then surprise quietly. Each result becomes an unexpected gift rather than a delayed debt. This discipline isn't about deception, it's about restraint. You keep the fire contained until it's strong enough to warm, not burn. Talk less. Do more. Let your results become your vocabulary. The fewer claims you make, the more every achievement feels amplified. Relentless delivery doesn't need announcement. The truly effective work like storms, unseen in preparation, devastating in execution. While others perform progress publicly, you craft impact privately, and when you finally reveal it, there's no argument left, only silence. The greatest credibility is born, not from words, but from pattern. Keep your words small, your output massive, your pace consistent. Then watch how fast reputation travels on its own. Because in a world full of promises, the rarest sound is quiet follow-through. Learn to smile while saying no. Boundaries are strongest when they look effortless. Most people defend them with tension, apology, or guilt, but the calm no, delivered with warmth, ends conflict before it begins. The tone disarms while the decision holds firm. It's how the gentle stay powerful without turning cold. A smile confuses expectation. It breaks the script. When someone demands your time or energy, they anticipate resistance or guilt. They don't expect serenity. Your ease implies certainty, and certainty ends negotiation. Saying no doesn't require anger. It requires clarity. You're not rejecting a person. You're protecting priorities. A boundary becomes unshakable when it carries peace instead of resentment. Practice it slowly. Decline politely. Once, don't fill the silence with justifications. Let the space after your no carry authority. People sense conviction through rhythm, not volume. And smile, not as apology, but as punctuation. It tells them the matter is settled, that you feel no need to convince or defend. You're teaching them that refusal doesn't equal hostility. It equals self-respect. This kind of power unnerves people used to chaos. They'll call it indifference. It's actually mastery. The smile is your shield, the boundary your armor. Together they say what words cannot. Your peace is not up for negotiation. Never argue when you can observe. Arguments are traps disguised as logic. They pull you into reaction, force you to defend, and demand you surrender calm for the illusion of victory. The wise don't argue. They analyze. They let the noise unfold until truth reveals itself naturally. Observation exposes faster than confrontation. When people argue, they reveal emotion. Emotion reveals weakness. The observer, silent and composed, gathers intelligence while the other bleeds clarity through over-explanation. Most arguments end themselves when given enough silence. You don't need to win verbally. You need to win informationally. Let others speak until their confidence trips over its own ego. Their inconsistencies will surface. Their anger will expose their insecurities. Your stillness becomes their mirror. Every time you choose to observe instead of react, you conserve energy. That energy becomes leverage later, when the argument's smoke clears and your calm remains proof of authority. Observation doesn't mean submission, it means control. You're still in the room, but you're above the current. When truth arrives, it'll point to you naturally because you never joined the chaos. The loud insist they're right. The quiet prove it over time. So next time someone tries to pull you into their storm, step back and watch. You'll find that storms spend themselves faster when there's nothing left resisting. Stop explaining, start deciding. Explaining is the most subtle form of pleading. It says, "Please understand me," which means your approval defines me. Every time you over-explain, you place your decisions on trial. But leadership doesn't beg for comprehension. It moves without requiring witnesses. When you explain too much, you leak authority. The world starts seeing your reasoning as permission rather than clarity. The more you justify, the less final your choice appears. You don't owe explanations to those who thrive on questioning them. You owe yourself the peace of acting from inner certainty. Decisiveness is language. Each choice you make without debate tells people how to treat you. It shows that your boundaries aren't theories, they're facts. A short answer holds more power than a paragraph of defense. Stop performing understanding. Start building direction. Let your decisions carry their own proof through results. Some will misunderstand, some will disapprove, but both outcomes strengthen your focus. You'll stop chasing consensus and start cultivating gravity. The truly decisive don't shout orders. They move with conviction so clear it silences argument. So stop explaining. Start deciding. Let people think what they will. Silence will prove you faster than words ever could. Because explanations invite debate. Decisions invite respect. Lead through absence, not presence. True leadership doesn't control the room. It reshapes it even when absent. Presence is powerful, but absence is the test of real influence. If things still move correctly when you're gone, you've built something larger than authority. You've built alignment. Most leaders rely on attention. They monitor, manage, and micromanage, mistaking control for guidance. But dependence is not leadership. It's captivity. You haven't led people if they collapse without you. You've merely held them hostage to your presence. Leading through absence requires investment before silence. You pour discipline, trust, and example into the space, then withdraw to see what remains. Absence exposes truth. Who understands, who pretends, who thrives only under watchful eyes. The best systems, teams, and relationships are those that self-correct without instruction. You build them through consistency, not command. When others start asking, "What would you do?" even when you're not there, you've achieved real influence. Absence multiplies power because it forces others to step into it. It tests loyalty, maturity, and memory. Those who endure your silence strengthen their own leadership. Those who don't reveal dependence you can never build legacy on. So disappear sometimes. Let the structure breathe. Let others remember that your influence wasn't about presence, it was about the standards you left behind. Calm feels like power to the anxious. In a world vibrating with panic, calm feels like prophecy. The anxious interpret composure as superiority because they can't access it. Your stillness becomes magnetic precisely because it's rare. The more others lose control, the more they orbit around whoever appears unshaken. Calm is command without force. It doesn't need to convince, It simply remains. You don't dominate others through emotion. You anchor them through steadiness. The frantic feed on chaos. You feed on patience. That difference creates psychological hierarchy. To cultivate calm, detach from outcome. Anxiety thrives on imagined futures. The calm live in process, not prediction. They master their breathing, their tone, their timing. Their presence becomes a signal. Everything slows here. People confuse calm with indifference. It isn't. Calm feels like safety to those who can't find it within themselves. That's why they follow you, trust you, confess to you. You don't even have to ask. Their turbulence seeks your stillness. Calm turns tension into authority. It absorbs conflict until the room adapts to your pace. The one who steadies emotion dictates momentum. So never rush to match someone's anxiety. Let them meet your calm instead. It's not a contest of nerves, it's a transfer of control. In a frantic world, peace is the rarest form of dominance. Your boundaries teach them how to behave. People don't learn who you are from your kindness. They learn from your limits. Every time you say yes when you mean no, you teach them to ignore your needs. Every time you stay silent when disrespected, you train them to cross lines. Boundaries are not barriers. They're education. They instruct others on how to handle access to you. A boundary is a mirror of self-respect. It says, I value my peace more than your approval. That's why so many struggle to set them. They fear disconnection. But here's the truth. The people who leave because you built a boundary were only staying because you didn't. Boundaries simplify life. They filter chaos. They attract maturity and repel manipulation. But they must be held, not declared. You can't announce self-respect. You must live it quietly. When people feel your calm refusal, instead of hearing your defensive explanation, they adjust without argument. Boundaries don't need anger to exist. They don't require conflict. A gentle no, repeated consistently, teaches louder than rage ever could. And the moment you stop over-explaining those boundaries, they solidify. Every healthy connection forms around what you won't allow. So draw the line not to push people away, but to give the right ones something sacred to protect. Because your boundaries aren't walls. They're the blueprint of how the world learns to treat you. Hide your ambition behind curiosity. Ambition declared too early triggers resistance. It makes people defensive, jealous, watchful. But curiosity feels harmless. It lets you explore openly while quietly expanding your reach. That's the trick, to cloak hunger in humility. Curiosity invites allies. Ambition invites rivals. When you lead with "I want to learn," people open doors. When you lead with "I want to win," they start closing them. Curiosity moves you through spaces. Ambition would barricade. It's the softer mask of drive. This isn't about deception. It's about protection. Big goals need quiet incubation. Curiosity gives you cover while you gather knowledge, build skill, and plan precision. No one suspects a student until the student surpasses the teacher. Ask questions instead of boasting. Collect data instead of validation. When you hide ambition behind curiosity, people will underestimate your purpose. That underestimation becomes your freedom. You'll learn more, faster, and without interference. Then, when you finally reveal the scope of what you were building, they'll call it sudden brilliance, but you'll know it was patience disguised as inquiry. So stay curious. Keep learning in the open, planning in silence. Let curiosity be your decoy and ambition your engine, because the most dangerous goals are the ones no one knows you're chasing. Be cold when they expect warmth. Kindness has its rhythm. Predictable warmth becomes weakness because it teaches others to expect softness even when they cross lines. The most powerful form of compassion is selective, warm when earned, cold when required. The sudden chill resets dynamics more effectively than confrontation ever could. People test boundaries gently at first. They see how much they can take without consequence. If you're always patient, always understanding, you become an emotional sponge for their carelessness. But when warmth turns cold without warning, they learn. The shock teaches faster than explanation. Coldness isn't cruelty, it's correction. It reminds others that your empathy has limits, that your peace is not communal property. The unexpected shift creates space for reflection. Silence does what lectures can't. The key is calm, withdrawal, not rage. You don't punish, you pause. You pull your warmth away and let distance reveal what attachment has hidden. If they value you, they'll recalibrate. If they don't, they'll drift. And either way, clarity arrives. Don't fear being misunderstood. Softness is wasted on those who mistake it for weakness. Your balance, the ability to be both gentle and distant, is what commands respect. Because warmth without control burns you. But warmth followed by stillness, that's how you teach the world the temperature of your worth. Doubt others' motives, not your own. Doubt is a form of intelligence, but misplaced, it becomes poison. Most people turn it inward, questioning their worth, their instincts, their direction, while giving others the benefit of the doubt they never earned. That's how manipulation thrives, through misplaced trust and self-doubt traded in reverse. You are allowed to question others. You are supposed to. The world runs on agendas, some harmless, some hidden. To navigate it wisely, you must develop quiet skepticism. Doubting motives doesn't make you paranoid, it makes you perceptive. You stop reacting to words and start examining incentives. When someone flatters you, ask what benefit your approval brings them. When they share secrets, ask why now and why with you. Every offer, every apology, every confession has a reason beneath the reason. Learn to see under the surface without letting cynicism eat you alive. And while you study others, stop doubting yourself so much. The constant self-questioning that keeps you from acting decisively serves only those who want you hesitant. Self-doubt weakens boundaries. Perceptive doubt fortifies them. You're not cold for questioning people. You're cold only if you stop questioning yourself afterward. The balance is awareness without bitterness. You can love deeply and still discern. You can believe in good intentions and still verify them. Doubt isn't distrust, it's direction. It keeps you grounded in clarity rather than fantasy. So doubt others quietly, like a scientist observing behavior. Let truth confirm or correct your instinct, but never let the noise of persuasion drown the whisper of your own knowing. Because once you start trusting yourself more than you trust performance, you'll stop being tricked by anyone again. Never show urgency. Urgency is the perfume of desperation. It signals fear, the fear of missing, losing, or being replaced. The moment urgency enters your tone, your leverage disappears. Calm is what people respect. Urgency is what they exploit. The powerful move slowly on the surface, no matter how quickly they're thinking beneath it. Their words arrive unhurried, their pace deliberate, their decisions wrapped in quiet certainty. Urgency shows hunger, composure shows choice. When you seem like you have time, the world bends to your timing. Train yourself to delay visible reaction. Count the seconds before answering. Never rush to respond, agree, or commit. Each pause resets the balance of power. Every still breath tells others you can't rush what's already decided. Urgency makes you easy to read and easier to manipulate. The impatient accept poor deals, false apologies, temporary relief. The composed wait long enough for truth to expose itself. Control your pace, and you'll control perception. People believe patience equals confidence. Even if you're uncertain, slowing your rhythm makes them slow theirs. Soon they'll start justifying themselves, explaining too much, revealing their own anxiety just to fill your silence. There's a saying, never let them see you bleed. Add this, never let them see you rush. Even if the storm is closing in, move as though you have more time than the sky itself. That illusion of patience becomes real over time, because time obeys those who stop chasing it. Urgency is what everyone else lives by. Calm is what the rare live through. Make them earn your kindness. Kindness loses its weight when given too freely. The world overvalues words and undervalues discernment. Every act of generosity is sacred energy. Once spent, it doesn't return unchanged. That's why you must give it carefully, not constantly. Unconditional kindness is a myth. Real kindness has context, timing, and purpose. It's not about pleasing others. It's about preserving the ability to keep giving without resentment. When you give without discernment, you invite dependency, not gratitude. People start seeing your warmth as endless supply, not selective gift. Make them earn it, not through suffering, but through consistency. See how they act when they don't need something. Observe how they speak of others when those others are gone. Look at how they respond to your silence before rewarding them with your attention again. Earning your kindness doesn't make you cruel. It makes your presence valuable. The people who truly appreciate warmth are the ones who felt its absence. You teach that appreciation through distance and through balance. When your kindness is earned, it transforms. It starts healing instead of enabling. It becomes fuel for the worthy, not comfort for the careless. So smile less often but more sincerely. Help fewer people but with deeper intent. Give softly but never automatically. Because kindness, when it must be earned, becomes holy again. Suffer in private, rise in silence. Public pain invites performance. The moment suffering becomes visible, the world rushes to witness it, some to comfort, others to study, and a few to secretly enjoy. But private pain refines you. It burns quietly, away from applause and pity. It shapes endurance in the dark, where there's no audience to reward your strength. To suffer in private is to own your transformation. You stop outsourcing empathy. You stop rehearsing explanations for your struggle. You start metabolizing pain into focus, solitude into awareness. While others dramatize their wounds for sympathy, you're building resilience in silence. Pain becomes less about survival and more about sculpture, each hardship chiseling away what's unnecessary. The world respects results, not reasons. When you emerge from difficulty without having broadcast your suffering, you radiate a power that feels unexplainable. People sense that something forged you but can't tell how. That mystery becomes strength. Suffering is unavoidable, but exposure is optional. Don't share everything you've survived. Let silence be your scar. Pain spoken too soon weakens. Pain carried long enough hardens into wisdom. You owe no one the spectacle of your healing. Rise slowly, without warning, without announcement. The quiet rise confuses those who doubted you. It shows that pain wasn't your prison, it was your training ground. And when they finally notice, you'll already be too far ahead to explain how you got there. Don't defend your reputation. Live it. Defense implies doubt. The moment you start defending who you are, you validate the accusation. Reputations aren't repaired through argument. They're reinforced through repetition. Every calm act of integrity rewrites what rumor distorts. Most people waste energy explaining themselves to those who've already chosen disbelief. But explanations don't change perception. Consistency does. Let time become your lawyer and silence your statement. The louder your accusers grow, the calmer you must become. Eventually, the contrast reveals truth without your interference. Reputation is fragile when built on performance, unshakable when built on pattern. Don't chase the temporary applause of image management. Build habits so strong that lies evaporate in the shadow of your proof. The disciplined don't announce their goodness. They embody it so thoroughly that defense feels redundant. When someone attacks your name, stay still. Let their noise echo into fatigue. You keep doing what you've always done, quietly, deliberately, precisely. People will notice. The world has a short attention span, but a long memory for consistency. Reputation isn't what people say about you. It's what survives after they've stopped talking. So stop defending. Start embodying. Because truth needs no guardian. It needs repetition. Give credit. Keep power. Ego hoards recognition, but leaders distribute it. Giving credit doesn't weaken your authority. It multiplies it. When you acknowledge others sincerely, you make space for loyalty to take root. People trust those who don't need to steal light to shine. The insecure fear generosity. They think credit divides glory. But power isn't pie. It's fire. When shared, it spreads without diminishing the flame. By giving credit, you demonstrate quiet confidence, the kind that doesn't fear comparison. You show that influence isn't competition. It's orchestration. Giving credit builds invisible alliances. People remember who saw them. They work harder for the one who notices quietly than for the one who boasts loudly. Gratitude becomes gravity. It pulls others closer while ego pushes them away. The trick is authenticity. Flattery feels hollow. True credit is precise. It names the effort, the insight, the moment. It uplifts without self-diminishing. You can elevate others while remaining grounded in your authority. Over time, this habit crafts an ecosystem of loyalty around you. People start defending your name in your absence, volunteering energy you never demanded. That's how kingdoms are built, not by taking, but by empowering. So give credit freely, but strategically. Praise sincerely, but sparingly. Let recognition be both reward and reminder. Power shared doesn't vanish, it compounds. Teach people how to treat you. People don't read minds, they read patterns. Every reaction, every tolerance, every silence becomes a lesson in how to treat you. If you don't define your worth through boundaries, others will define it through convenience. The truth is uncomfortable. The disrespect you allow teaches more than the respect you request. You don't have to lecture anyone about how to treat you. You just have to stop rewarding bad behavior with access. When they see that carelessness earns distance, they learn faster than words could ever teach. Teaching respect is a slow art. It's repetition, not reaction. Every consistent boundary is a quiet reminder that your peace is expensive. You don't beg to be valued. You demonstrate what happens when you're not. Some will adjust, others will vanish. Both outcomes serve you. You're not cold for setting standards. You're cold only if you enforce them without compassion. The goal isn't control, it's clarity. You're showing others the shape of your presence, what it costs to hold it, and what happens when it's mishandled. People remember experiences more than explanations. Let them feel your limits through consequence. Let your calm withdrawal carry more weight than any argument. Over time, your consistency will teach louder than confrontation ever could. Teaching people how to treat you isn't about punishment, it's about self-respect that trains the world by example. Because once you stop negotiating your peace, others stop trying to. Let silence finish the argument. Every argument has a point where logic ends and ego begins. Past that line, words don't fix anything. They just feed noise. Silence, however, ends what pride refuses to. It drains oxygen from conflict until it suffocates on its own. People argue not to understand, but to win. They talk over reason just to hear their certainty echoed back. That's why silence disarms. It offers no echo. It forces their words to hit still air and fall flat. The louder they speak, the more foolish the noise becomes. Silence isn't surrender. It's the ultimate rebuttal. It says, this discussion no longer deserves my energy. It keeps you in control of tone, pace, and presence. When you stop replying, the other side has nothing left to fight but themselves. To master silence is to master rhythm. You don't need to prove intelligence through speech. You prove it through restraint. A calm face, while chaos unravels beside you, says more than 1,000 retorts ever could. Let silence carry the weight of your point. It always lands slower, but deeper. The echo lingers longer because it wasn't spoken. It was implied. The world is addicted to noise. When you choose quiet, you become contrast, and contrast is unforgettable. So the next time an argument invites you in, remember, silence is not weakness, it's containment. You're not losing ground, you're choosing altitude. Emotion is a tool, not a truth. Emotions are weather, not law. They pass, they distort, they cleanse, but they don't always tell the truth. Yet most people worship them like commandments. They act on storms as if they were maps, confusing temporary feelings with permanent direction. The wise treat emotion differently. They don't suppress it, they observe it. They ask, what is this feeling trying to show me? Anger reveals boundaries. Fear reveals attachments. Sadness reveals change. Each emotion carries data, but not definition. You're not what you feel. You're the one interpreting it. Emotion becomes dangerous when it drives before thinking. Every impulse feels righteous in the moment. But once the feeling fades, you're left repairing choices made in heat. That's why emotional mastery isn't coldness, it's awareness. It's knowing when to use feeling as compass and when to use it as caution. The trick is to separate sensation from story. Feel the wave, but don't build a house inside it. Observe without drowning. Speak after cooling. Decide after distance. Emotion, used correctly, is fuel. It gives intensity to action, depth to creativity, courage to risk, but only when you're the one holding the wheel. When emotion drives you, chaos follows. When you drive it, transformation begins. The goal isn't to feel less, it's to feel wisely, to treat emotion like fire, warm when contained, destructive when free. And once you master that balance, the storms of life stop controlling your direction, they start powering it. Control attention, control reality. Reality bends around attention. Whatever the mind focuses on expands, deepens, and hardens into truth. Most people never realize that their suffering isn't in what happens, but in what they feed. Attention is currency, and the world is built by those who know how to spend it. Distraction is the modern leash. It keeps people reactive, exhausted, and scattered. They mistake motion for progress, noise for meaning, and emotion for purpose. Every notification, every conflict, every piece of gossip steals a fragment of attention, and with it, a fragment of power. Control your attention, and you begin rewriting your world. Decide what deserves sight and what earns blindness. Focus turns chaos into order, while distraction turns order into dust. The mind, when disciplined, becomes an architect. It shapes life like light, through a lens. What it illuminates grows sharper, what it ignores fades away. Attention also controls relationships. The one you observe deeply feels seen. The one you ignore slowly erases themselves. Influence works the same way. What you highlight becomes real for others too. That's how leaders shape perception, by directing collective focus, not force. You don't need to control everything. You just need to control what gets your gaze. Because what you watch, you empower. What you starve of attention, you weaken. In the end, control of attention is control of reality. And once you learn that, nothing external can truly own you again. Never ask twice. Asking once is assertion. Asking twice is surrender. The moment you repeat a request, you trade authority for permission. The powerful state their needs clearly. Then watch what happens. If respect exists, it's answered. If not, silence becomes the answer itself. Never ask twice. Not for effort, not for respect, not for decency. A single calm request reveals everything. If it's ignored, repeating it won't help. You're not reminding them, you're retraining yourself to tolerate disregard. And tolerance of disrespect always grows into resentment. The mature don't beg for reciprocity. They measure response. If words fail, distance teaches. You withdraw energy, not affection. You step back, not out of pride, but precision. You let action or inaction reveal truth. Asking twice teaches others that your boundaries are flexible, that your patience has no edge. But love, Loyalty and effort only hold value when they're voluntary. Once requested beyond reason, they rot. Say it once. Mean it once. Then move differently. This isn't cruelty. It's calibration. The world rearranges itself around those who speak clearly and walk away quietly. The ones who truly hear you don't need reminders. The ones who don't never will. And the sooner you stop asking twice, the sooner you stop needing to. Don't confuse love with access. Love is feeling. Access is privilege. One can exist without the other. You can love someone deeply and still protect your peace. You can care without always being available. But most people confuse proximity with affection. They believe love requires constant access. That's why they burn out, drained by the weight of proving devotion through presence. Love shouldn't demand exposure. It should respect distance. True connection doesn't require constant updates, instant replies, or endless explanation. It lives quietly in trust, the knowing that care continues even in silence. Access, when given freely to everyone, turns intimacy into exhaustion. Your availability becomes invisible because it's expected. The ones who love you most should earn entry to your time, not assume it. Your space is sacred. Protect it like your sanity depends on it, because it does. There's a quiet strength in limitation. When you reduce access, your love regains value. Every word you speak, every moment you share begins to mean something again. Boundaries don't reduce love. They refine it. They strip performance and reveal truth. You can love someone fully and still say, "Not now." You can care deeply and still step away. That's not coldness, it's clarity. Because love without boundaries isn't compassion. It's self-erasure. And the kind of love that demands your constant presence doesn't want partnership, it wants possession. Delay pleasure, accelerate discipline. Pleasure whispers comfort. Discipline whispers power. Every day you stand between the two. One gives you peace now, the other gives you peace forever. Pleasure soothes, but it also softens. It tells you you've earned rest before the work is done. It rewards the body while stealing the mind's edge. Discipline, though painful, frees you. It's the slow violence of improvement, the fire that purifies rather than destroys. The moment you learn to delay pleasure, you shift from reacting to creating. You stop chasing reward and start shaping destiny. Every goal collapses where comfort begins. Success doesn't die from failure. It dies from ease. The world trains you to consume endless novelty, quick relief, dopamine loops disguised as satisfaction. The rare few turn away from that rhythm and embrace the quiet ache of self-control. They understand that the hunger you don't feed becomes fuel. Delaying pleasure isn't denial, it's transformation. Each time you resist the easy, your capacity for the extraordinary expands. You grow sharper in deprivation, lighter in patience, more precise in purpose. Pleasure will still come, but it will come on your terms, not as seduction, but as celebration. You can have what you want later, or you can keep losing to what you want now. The difference between slaves and masters has always been timing. Confidence comes from preparedness. Confidence is not belief. It's rehearsal. It's the quiet knowledge that you've already faced what's coming. The loud kind of confidence, the kind that brags and postures, collapses under pressure. Real confidence is invisible until tested. It doesn't need affirmation because it's built from hours of repetition that no one saw. You can't fake readiness. You can't posture your way into calm when stakes rise. The unprepared tremble, talk too much, and seek comfort in reassurance. The prepared breathe slowly, speak less, and execute with precision. Preparation is self-respect in action. It says, "I've done the work, so I don't need permission to stand here." It's the antidote to insecurity, because it replaces guessing with certainty. You don't pray for outcomes when you've built them brick by brick. Confidence is the residue of effort. It's what remains when you've trained beyond doubt. It's the stillness that comes when you've earned your competence in private long before anyone's watching. Don't chase confidence. Build it through repetition, through study, through discomfort. The mind trusts what it's proven. Insecurity prays for luck. Preparation manufactures it. Confidence isn't attitude. It's accuracy born from mastery. Reject validation. Gain freedom. Validation feels sweet, but enslaves. The moment you need to be seen, you become predictable. Every compliment becomes a leash. Every criticism becomes a cage. You move not from purpose but from reaction, performing approval rather than living truth. The search for validation begins in childhood and continues through screens. It masquerades as connection, but it's dependence disguised as communication. You hand your worth to strangers, and they decide whether you rise or fall. Rejecting validation doesn't mean rejecting people. It means rejecting measurement by others. It means creating from conviction, not applause. When you stop waiting for acknowledgement, your actions become cleaner. You no longer manipulate outcomes to please. You pursue alignment to grow. Freedom begins when you can be misunderstood and remain calm. When silence doesn't scare you, when success unshared still satisfies, that's when you realize you were never addicted to approval. You were addicted to escape from uncertainty. Validation is a sugar high for the ego. Solitude is the protein of the soul. Choose the one that nourishes you, not the one that sedates you. The less you seek validation, the more authentic your voice becomes, and the quieter you get, the louder your truth begins to sound. Because the free don't need witnesses, they only need purpose. Be a mystery in a world of mirrors. The world no longer seeks truth, it seeks reflection. Everyone wants to see themselves in others, to find confirmation instead of contradiction. That's why mystery has become rebellion. When you refuse to reveal everything, you break the rhythm of the modern performance. You become unreadable in a world addicted to visibility. Mystery isn't about deceit, it's about preservation. Every truth you share becomes open terrain for misunderstanding, imitation, or distortion. The less you expose, the more control you retain. Let your life have hidden rooms. Let people see the doorway but not the map. The mysterious are magnetic because they provide contrast. Amid endless noise and overexposure, silence feels sacred. People fill your gaps with fascination, imagining depth where information ends. You stop being a participant in the spectacle and become the spectacle itself, studied, speculated about, but never fully known. Being mysterious doesn't mean isolation. It means intention. You reveal with purpose. You speak when words serve power, not when silence serves better. You appear when your presence amplifies impact and vanish when it doesn't. In a world of mirrors, mystery becomes armor. Everyone else reflects endlessly, trapped in the loop of proving and performing. You, however, remain undefined. And what can't be defined can't be confined. Let them guess. Let them wonder. Let them build myths about what you're doing in the dark. Because mystery is not emptiness. It's energy held in reserve. The world fears what it can't read. Use that fear. Wear it like shadow. Because when everyone else is a reflection, the one who remains opaque becomes unforgettable. Done. Instead, overshare what you overcome. Overcoming pain doesn't mean you owe the world your story. Not every battle must be narrated. Some victories are meant to live only in your silence, the quiet strength that doesn't need witness to be real. Oversharing is a modern confession booth. People trade trauma for attention, not realizing that sacred things lose power when displayed too early. Healing is fragile. It needs solitude to mature before exposure. When you rush to explain your survival, you invite misunderstanding into spaces that should be holy. The powerful don't hide their struggles, they contain them. They understand that what's processed privately becomes unshakable. You don't have to prove resilience by bleeding publicly. You prove it by walking upright after the storm without demanding applause. There's dignity in discretion. You can share lessons without showing scars. You can inspire without inviting intrusion. Not everyone deserves access to your becoming. Some only came to consume it. Keep some stories for the firelight, not the crowd. The world romanticizes brokenness because it fears wholeness, but your healing isn't entertainment. It's evolution. Guard it until it's strong enough to stand without defense. Silence doesn't erase what you survived. It honors it. And when you do choose to speak, let it be not to relive your pain, but to remind others that quiet endurance is the purest victory there is. They can sit target what they can sit red. Visibility invites attack. The more predictable you are, the easier it becomes for others to exploit your rhythm. Every routine, every reaction, every emotional tell is a pattern, and patterns are weaknesses to those who watch closely. To move through the world safely, you must master opacity, blend calm with unpredictability. Be consistent in principle, not in presentation. Never let people know what hurts you most, what tempts you quickest, or what you'll always do next. The unseen part of you is your armor. Those who study others for control look for reaction first. Every visible flinch, every defensive explanation, every desperate need becomes a coordinate on their map. Remove those markers. Respond less, reveal less, replace intensity with stillness. The less they can read, the more they must imagine, and imagination in the mind of your observer becomes confusion. When you're unreadable, you force people to confront their assumptions instead of your reality. They can't manipulate what they can't predict. They can't attack what they can't locate. Move quietly, shift patterns, keep motives clouded but actions clean. You're not deceiving, you're protecting clarity from exploitation. Power doesn't come from dominance. It comes from invisibility in plain sight. The less they can read, the more control you keep. Because mystery isn't absence, it's strategy. And in a world of open books, the closed one is always feared, respected, and left untouched. Refuse pity, inspire fear. Pity is poison wrapped in compassion. It lowers you beneath the one offering it, placing them in the role of savior while you play the broken thing in need of repair. It may sound kind, but it's hierarchy disguised as empathy. That's why the powerful reject pity. They know it feeds dependence, not dignity. To refuse pity doesn't mean denying pain. It means refusing to perform weakness for comfort. There's strength in suffering silently, in facing what hurts without turning it into theater. People respect resilience, but grow comfortable around fragility. The moment they pity you, they stop fearing your potential. And fear, in its purest form, is respect's twin. You can't control how others feel, but you can control what you project. Show stability even when shaking. Speak calmly even when breaking. The world takes its emotional cues from your posture. If you stand tall through ruin, they'll see you as inevitable, not pitiful. Inspire fear not through cruelty, but through composure. Let your calm unsettle them. Let your silence remind them you survived something they couldn't. True intimidation isn't loud. It's the quiet confidence of someone who's already walked through worse. Refuse pity, not out of pride, but out of self-preservation. Because pity turns strength into spectacle. But fear, earned, quiet fear, keeps it sacred. Use patience as psychological pressure. Impatience is visible. It reveals need, desire, and fear all at once. But patience, that's invisible force. It makes others uneasy because they can't read what you're waiting for. Every moment of your calm becomes pressure they can't escape. Patience isn't passive. It's the art of controlled waiting. You're not frozen. You're coiling. Every pause builds tension. The longer you hold still, the more others move to relieve it. That's why the patient often win. They make the impatient destroy themselves. In arguments, stay quiet longer than comfort allows. In negotiations, let the silence stretch. The nervous will rush to fill it, revealing more than they should. Patience bends psychology in your favor. It turns time into leverage. The key is internal stillness. Don't wait resentfully. Wait strategically. Each second is a blade sharpening. Let them believe you've forgotten. Let them relax. Time erodes pretenders faster than confrontation ever could. Patience makes you timeless. You operate on your own schedule, untouched by urgency, immune to manipulation. Those who rush live reactively. Those who wait live architecturally. The most intimidating thing about patience is that it's quiet. It doesn't announce. It accumulates, and when it finally breaks its silence, the world mistakes it for destiny. Show less interest than you feel. Interest reveals leverage. The more you show, the more you lose. When people sense your excitement, they adjust their value accordingly. They pull back, test boundaries, and measure how much you'll chase. Interest, like emotion, must be managed, not erased. Showing less interest isn't manipulation. It's protection. It gives you space to evaluate clearly. When you lead with curiosity instead of hunger, you see others' true intentions. Those who only stay when pursued aren't allies. They're opportunists. Control your energy. Listen more than you speak. Observe longer than you engage. You can feel deeply without performing attachment. Quiet affection holds more gravity than loud admiration. In every connection, negotiation, or pursuit, restraint creates intrigue. People value what feels scarce. The less you offer freely, the more they lean toward earning it. Interest withheld becomes oxygen. They'll return to breathe it. Even when you care, stay measured. Don't rush to respond, overshare, or overextend. Let silence hold weight between your words. When you act, let it seem chosen, not reflexive. Showing less interest doesn't mean apathy. It means control. It means knowing your attention is currency and refusing to spend it carelessly. Because once people realize you feel more than you show, they stop taking what you show for granted. Master detachment before desire. Desire without detachment is addiction. It blinds. It makes you chase what you could have attracted had you stayed still. To want something deeply isn't wrong, but to need it desperately is to hand it power over you. Detachment is the difference between hunger and worship. Desire pulls. Detachment balances. The world teaches you to want louder, to visualize, to crave, to manifest. But craving distorts clarity. When you want too much, you stop seeing what is. You interpret coincidence as destiny and rejection as tragedy. The detached see clearly because they no longer mistake longing for alignment. Master detachment before desire. Learn to hold the image of what you want without clutching it. The more you release control, the more gravity works for you. People, opportunities, and outcomes all respond to energetic balance. The desperate repel, the composed attract. Detachment isn't coldness, it's precision. It means feeling fully, but acting rationally. You still dream, still reach, still risk, but you do it from wholeness, not hunger. When you're detached, losses don't shatter you, and wins don't define you. You move like water, flowing, never clinging. You'll find that when you stop chasing what you desire, it starts orbiting closer, because power isn't in getting, it's in not needing to. Pain is data. Interpret it coldly. Pain is the body's oldest language. It doesn't lie, it informs. But most people drown in the feeling. Instead of decoding the message, they call it punishment. When it's really communication, pain is feedback, evidence that something demands attention. Every kind of pain holds meaning. Physical pain signals imbalance. Emotional pain signals attachment. Existential pain signals growth. Yet few stop long enough to analyze it. They fight it, mask it, or romanticize it. Anything but listen. To interpret pain coldly is to extract wisdom from suffering without drowning in it. Ask, what is this teaching me? Instead of, why is this happening to me? The first empowers, the second enslaves. Pain reveals patterns. It shows you where you repeat mistakes, where your boundaries fail, where your expectations betray you. Once you read it objectively, it stops being chaos and becomes calibration. You stop fearing it, you start using it. Coldness doesn't mean numbness, it means clarity. It's separating sensation from story, emotion from evaluation. Pain ceases to be a villain and becomes a map. So don't run from it. Record it, study it, use it. Every scar is a data point, and every ache a direction. Pain wants you to adapt, not suffer, and when you start listening instead of lamenting, it turns from enemy to engineer. Speak facts, let others reveal emotion. Facts steady a room. Emotion shakes it. Most conversations drown in feelings pretending to be truth. The wise speak from stillness, not impulse. They state, pause, and let the silence do the work. Facts are weapons of control. They anchor dialogue in reality while others flail in interpretation. The trick is to remain composed even when provoked. Emotionally charged people try to drag you into reaction so they can measure your depth. The moment you rise, they learn your weak points. Instead, speak plainly. Say less. Deliver truth like a mirror, clear, reflective, without defense. Emotion clouds clarity. Neutrality sharpens it. When you refuse to mirror chaos, chaos reveals itself in contrast. Let others show their temperature first. Their tone, volume, and words become confessions. You'll learn everything by what they can't keep calm about. They'll think they're persuading you, but they're exposing themselves. Facts don't need flair. They need presence. The more simply you speak, the more others project complexity onto your words. Let them. Their interpretation reveals more about them than your truth ever could. So ground your voice. Deliver facts like calm verdicts. The emotional will rage against your quiet, mistaking it for superiority. But that's fine, because emotion reveals character and calm reveals control. And control always wins. Vanish after victory. Victory invites danger. When you win, eyes find you, some to admire, many to envy. The moment you celebrate too loudly, you turn triumph into target, disappear after you succeed. Let mystery protect what momentum builds. Vanishing isn't cowardice, it's conservation. The energy that won the battle is fragile right after the win. Pride dilutes it. Silence preserves it. You don't need to prove victory. You need to protect its echo. Leave before applause becomes expectation. Leave before envy begins its whisper. Those who linger after triumph crave validation. Those who vanish crave mastery. You exit quietly, letting results speak without you there to explain them. The absence becomes legend. The world fills the silence with awe. Disappear not in bitterness, but in balance. After success, return to stillness, reflect, rebuild, recalibrate. The same discipline that earned your rise must now prevent your fall. Great empires collapse not from defeat, but from arrogance after conquest. The wise celebrate privately. They understand that disappearance multiplies intrigue. They leave questions behind. Where did they go? What will they do next? Curiosity builds myth, and myth outlasts memory. So the next time you win, resist the spotlight, vanish into the quiet from which you came. Let victory glow behind you like a trail, not a stage, because those who rise and vanish become timeless, and those who stay to be seen become consumed. Never be the easiest to reach. Accessibility breeds invisibility. The easier you are to reach, the less value your presence holds. Constant availability teaches others to take you for granted. Your time becomes background noise, the thing they assume will always be there. Scarcity creates gravity. When you're not constantly reachable, your attention feels heavier when it arrives. People start choosing their words more carefully. They plan before approaching. Distance filters noise from necessity. This doesn't mean arrogance, it means self-respect. Protecting access to yourself doesn't make you cold, it makes your energy clean. When everyone can reach you at any hour, you stop being a person. You become a utility. Utilities are used, not valued. Be selective with responsiveness. Not everything deserves a reply. Not every call deserves your time. The more disciplined your silence, the more intentional your speech becomes. Your value multiplies in proportion to your restraint. Let absence sharpen curiosity. Let your unavailability speak louder than apology ever could. The ones who truly need you will adapt to your rhythm. The rest will drift to easier targets, and that's exactly how it should be. You don't owe the world your constant presence. The sun doesn't explain its setting. It simply returns when it chooses. Be like that. Present rarely. Present meaningfully. Never easily. Learn to enjoy being misunderstood. The moment you stop fearing misunderstanding, freedom begins. Most people waste their lives explaining themselves to those committed to missing the point. They chase clarity as if it guarantees peace. But peace doesn't come from agreement. It comes from comfort in your own knowing. To be misunderstood is to be unseen by the ordinary. The deeper you think, the calmer you act, the more people misread you. They'll call your patience indifference, your restraint arrogance, your silence confusion. Let them. The need to correct perception is ego disguised as sincerity. Learn to let misunderstanding live. It protects your solitude. The more people misjudge you, the fewer distractions follow you. They gossip while you build. They doubt while you refine. Time will prove what words can't, and your calm during their confusion will say more than any explanation ever could. Enjoy being misunderstood. It means you're no longer operating at common frequency. You've ascended beyond predictable emotion. The misunderstood walk lighter, think clearer, act freer. You don't owe translation. Those meant to understand, you will feel your truth without words. The rest can live in their projections. Peace begins when you no longer chase comprehension, because the misunderstood aren't lonely, they're simply living ahead of their time. Be the storm they didn't see coming. Power rarely announces itself. The loud threats, the visible anger, the constant proving, all of it belongs to those who haven't yet learned how to move in silence. The real storm doesn't warn. It gathers, it studies, it builds strength beneath still skies. And by the time it arrives, it's already too late to stop it. Be that storm, not the one they prepare for, the one they never sense until the ground trembles beneath them. Your calm, your silence, your patience, your absence, all of it is misread as retreat. Let them think you've slowed. Let them mistake stillness for surrender. Meanwhile, every quiet moment sharpens you. Every ignored night, every delayed reaction, every swallowed word gathers weight behind the veil. Most people live in the open. They show their progress, their plans, their frustration. But storms are born in pressure, not performance. You build your pressure in the dark, slowly, precisely, methodically. Each doubt becomes energy. Each slight becomes lightning, waiting for command. When the time comes, you don't speak. You strike. Be unpredictable. Be vast. Don't aim to impress. Aim to alter. When you move, do so with the force of inevitability. Let your reappearance feel like destiny disguised as coincidence. The world won't remember what you said. It will remember what shifted after you acted. And when the storm has passed, don't explain the damage. Let silence echo where thunder once lived. Let them wonder how they missed it, how you gathered so much force without noise. That confusion will be your immortality. Because power doesn't live in rage, it lives in readiness. It's the quiet before the surge, the long patience before the break. Be that. Move through life unseen, unprovoked, but fully awake. Build in pressure until the moment demands release. And when it does, don't hold back. Don't warn. Don't prove. Simply arrive. Let your calm become the wind that rearranges everything it touches. Be the storm they didn't see coming, the silence before it, the shock within it, the peace that follows after. And so we've reached the end of the forbidden list, where tricks become truths and power reveals its quiet cost. What began as curiosity has turned into awareness. Every advantage reshapes you, every shortcut changes the path itself. Real power was never in the hacks, but in the way you choose to use them. If these ideas stirred something in you, something sharp, something still, let it stay a while. Subscribe to keep uncovering what hides beneath control, ambition, and self-mastery. And as the night settles, remember, some power is dangerous only because it works.